People wanna talk that talk, in reality you have not seen me in action. You think the come up comes overnight, you ain't behind the scenes. Trust me, these things don't just happen. No shade to Gerald, but G's don't come easy when you tryna eat out producing and rapping. I read that contract you sent me to sign, but excuse me, I can't help myself, I'm just laughing. Hey, you tryna cut out a piece of my pie, and I asked you politely, what's it that you offer me? Yeah, I produce all my own beats and I have no intention of losing my publisher. Yeah, independent individual, boy, I've been eating off passive residuals. Yeah, let's be professional. Thanks for your time, but I had to decline at that principle. I've been scheming up a plan, hey, I've been saving all I can, hey, you could call me David Ramsey, the way I handle these bands, hey, we ain't messing with the old model, new era, new kid, we full throttle, just know that the come up is not a flaw, my amigos, they focus, know what to do. After I get it, I reinvest, after I get it, I reinvest, after I get it, I reinvest, stack and put it back in it. After I get it, I reinvest, after I get it, I reinvest, after I get it, I reinvest, stack and put it back in it.
Yo, look, I ain't saying that I'm rich, cause if I'm honest, I've never been. But when I look at all these other kids, I feel just a little bit ahead of them. You should know the business is competitive. There's a lot of people that I'm better than. Even veterans ain't got the knowledge I do. I've been reinvesting all I ever spent. Stop pretending like you poppin'. Who been out here making profit? Told my mama that I got this. I wonder if she noticed what my job is. I don't know how I'ma make it, but I know no matter what, I'm finna find a way. All my homies finna eat and I ain't letting no one on my team look at an empty plate. Yeah. Went from a boy to a man. Ay, every day been making plans. Ay, they don't really understand. Ay, gotta look out for the family. I won't fall for any scam. Yeah, only worry about the fans. Yeah, I won't compromise the brand. Yeah, I've been saving up the bands. Whoa. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. Rappers spending money in some really funny ways, man. I promise you, man, really getting paid. Yeah, show a couple bands flexing on the Instagram, and nobody getting fans that way. Yeah, well, you really dumb if you spending all your funds on some clothes and your tape need work. Yeah, you ain't gonna stand if you ain't a businessman, man. I promise you, the plan ain't gonna work. Yeah, rappers spending money in some really funny ways, man. I promise you, man, really getting paid. Yeah, show a couple bands flexing on the Instagram, and nobody getting fans that way. Yeah, well, you really dumb if you spending all your funds on some.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Zoomies Don't Ghost the Vote event on National Voter Registration Day. I'm Cassidy Priest, a district manager, live and plugged in from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Hey, y'all. I am Kate Yob, a Zoomies district manager coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are so stoked to be your host for today. We have a great show planned for everyone. So if y'all didn't already know, today is National Voter Registration Day. Basically, it's a huge national moment to give everyone a last kick in the ass to go get registered to vote before the deadlines start hitting at the beginning of next month. Cassidy, why don't you tell us what some of our earliest deadlines are?
Totally. So the first to shut the gates is Delaware on October 3rd, followed the very next day, October 4th, by Alaska, Michigan, and Rhode Island. Now the biggie day, that's October 5th, where we have 13 states. So listen up to see if yours is here. Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Indiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, Montana, Ohio, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Vermont. If you didn't hear your state listed, or to find out what your state's voter registration deadline is, you can also check to see if your state has the same day election registration, or to get registered to vote, head over to zoomies.com/standup. You can also head into your local Zoomies to talk to us. Come talk to us and let us know what you're going to be voting about, get some information about registering and voting in your area.
Awesome. Lots of us are also going to be voting by mail this year. So don't ghost the vote and don't wait to request your absentee ballot. You can go to votolatino.org/vote by mail to confirm if you can vote by mail in your state and request your absentee ballot now. Why wait and stand in line. You can fill out your ballot at home and mail it back as soon as possible once you get it to make sure your vote is counted. And for those of us not voting by mail, did you know you can actually vote early before November 3rd? You can head to rockthevote.org/howtovote to find out if your state has early voting, when the early voting period is, and where you go. Lines might be long on election day, so vote early if you can in your state.
Yes, and I know there's a lot of passionate people out there who are too young to vote. That's okay. We're still stoked you're here. Your voice still matters. Use it to talk to your friends and family who can vote. Make sure that they're registered and that they go vote. And you can still get out into communities to support in any other way that you can. Your voice has power. What do you stand up for?
What do you stand for?
I stand for our oceans.
I stand for education. Education is a foundation to all success.
And I stand for gender equity in skateboarding because representation matters.
I stand for safe sex because STDs are no bueno.
I stand for Everglades conservation.
And I stand for our military and I support our troops.
And I stand for cats. But seriously, always adopt.
I stand for women's rights.
I stand for the fight against misinformation.
This is my friend Jill. Hi. Jill doesn't stand for anything. Don't be like Jill.
We all have a choice of whether to be a spectator or be a participant. When you participate, you shape your own life. What do you stand for?
What do you stand for?
What do you stand for?
You have a voice. Fucking use it.
Stand for something.
Register to vote and go vote.
Get registered to vote and go actually vote.
So make sure you register to vote and go vote. Vote, vote, vote.
So register to vote and go vote, dude.
Democracy only works when people participate. If you want your voice to count, you have to register to vote and then vote.
All right. Cassidy, what do we have happening today?
Oh my God, we have so much happening today. I really hope you all are ready. So we have 3 action-packed hours ahead of us, filled with so many voices, including your favorite brands, young people making a difference in their communities. We have talented athletes and artists, Zoomies employees from all across the country, and more. We also have live music from Emo Night and all the knowledge that you need to make sure that your vote counts as selection. And I want to make sure you guys know we do have giveaways. So we're going to be giving away Zoomies stash points, Zoomies gift cards, tees from brands in the stand-up collection, limited edition posters featuring art from the Your Art is Your Voice open call, and more. Okay, so here is the full rundown. I hope you're comfortable. Here we go. First, we're going to be hearing from Zoomies employees at your locations. Following that, we're going to hear from the athletes and folks from some of your favorite brands. Next, we have the Stand Up and Vote Take Action panel featuring a collective of young people standing up and making a real difference in their local communities. After a short intermission at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, we will be back at 5 p.m. with a special edition of the Stand Up and Vote Trivia Game Show, followed by the Your Art is Your Voice art show. Sorry about that. But last but not least, we have live music from everyone's favorite Emo Night.
Holy shit, Cassidy. That is a lot of awesome stuff happening tonight.
I know. And the cool thing is it's all happening right here, starting now live on Zoomies Twitch. So make sure you don't go anywhere. So do you want to win some of those Zoomies stash points? You want to make sure you don't go anywhere because we're going to be dropping pieces of the stash code in the chat periodically throughout the event today. Stick around, collect the codes, and then put them together to win. And if you want to win some of those Zoomies gift cards or the tees from the stand-up collection or those limited edition posters, make sure you hit the chat and tell us what you're standing up and voting for or how you're using your voice and why. We will be picking our favorites and we're going to announce the winners at the end of the stream. So make sure you're hitting that chat and stick around. Also, if you RSVP'd for today, we are going to be picking 5 of you to win a t-shirt from the stand-up collection. And if you were one of the first of the 50 people to RSVP for the event, congratulations. You won yourself a stand up and vote pack that includes a stand up face mask, button, and a sticker. We all need face masks. It's our life now. We'll be in touch to get you your prizes after the event.
Wow, that's a lot of awesome stuff. So I think you guys have heard more than enough from us. You guys know them, you love them. They hit you with the latest and greatest drip every time you walk into the store. Coming at you now, voices from your local Zoomies. Roll it.
What's good, y'all? This is Chris Chisholm, store manager from Zoomies in Dallas, Texas.
Hey, I'm Amy. I'm the district manager for Zoomies in Atlanta.
My name is Matt Talley. I am a district manager for Zoomies up here in Seattle, Washington.
Hi, Zoomies family. My name's Shelby. I'm a store manager for Zoomies out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
My name's Rod. I'm a regional manager in the Mid-Atlantic.
Hey guys, it's Catherine Holsworth. I'm district manager of Zoomies in the Houston area.
My name is Nikki. I am a Zoomies store manager down in South Jersey.
Hey, what's up everybody? My name's Ryan Johnson. I'm the district manager for Zoomies in San Antonio and Austin, Texas.
If you're tired of other people making decisions for you, then go get registered to vote.
I can't stress enough how important the election is this year. I know that voting can be kind of an intimidating process, and especially if it's new to you, but this is going to be one of the most historical elections of our lifetime, and we all want to make sure that you feel prepared going into this. So please stop into any Zoomies store. We can get you registered to vote, provide you with any resources that you might need regardless of whatever state that you're in, and make sure that you feel comfortable with the entire registration and voting process.
I'm voting because too many Americans don't have access to basic health care and affordable housing. Every human being deserves to be healthy and have a roof over their heads at night.
If you've never exercised your right to vote in the past, now's the time. With so many things at stake this election, would you really want to be the person that chose to remain seated while everyone around you stood up? I didn't think so. I'll be standing up for quite a few things this year. The climate crisis that our world is facing, for one. LGBTQ and women's rights, naturally, as well as affordable healthcare and housing for all Americans.
I'm gonna get out there and fucking vote, and I believe you should too. Myself, I believe in some things, immigrant rights, climate change, and I'm gonna be voting based on my beliefs, and you should vote based on your beliefs as well. So whether or not you're happy with how things are, or maybe you're not so happy with how things are going, you should go fucking vote.
And I will rock that vote. For three main things. First, it's racial equality. It's crazy to me that in 2020, we're still having a conversation about treating people equal based off of the color of their skin. All these years, people have been fighting and dying for the right to be treated equal. So many people of all races and all colors have died fighting for this country and our right to vote. Let's make our vote heard for everyone of all races and all colors. If you care about your local police, if you care about your local schools, your infrastructure, your neighbor, your taxes, your livable wage, it's time for you to start looking up your local elected officials that you'll be voting for in 2020. So I'll be voting to ensure that every woman has the right to vote and make choices on their own.
And this fall, I will be standing up and voting for suicide prevention and mental health reform.
This election, I am standing up for a lot of issues that are super important to me. Just some of the things that I'm standing up for are LGBTQ rights, for racial equality, for immigrant rights, for affordable access to healthcare, as well as working to end climate change so that we can have a greener and better future. Working with Zoomies Stand Up has really shown me just how passionate our generation is and how we want to make sure that our voice is heard and that our opinions matter.
You can find me at the polls this fall standing up for income inequality and universal health care.
And there's a lot of things that I stand up for. Things like climate change, affordable health care, and women's rights. And I always make sure that my voice is heard through my vote. This upcoming election might just be one of the most important that we've ever seen. So it's time for you guys to get out there and let your voices be heard.
I just want to say with the super important election coming up this fall, I'm personally going to be using my vote to fight against racial inequality and xenophobia.
I'm voting for 3 main reasons: equality, immigration, and the environment. But more importantly, what are you voting for? It's time to stand up.
The people that you guys will be voting to these seats, the congressmen, the senators, the judges, in the future, these people are going to be our next president. They're going to be our next attorney general. They're going to be our next speaker of the House. So please make sure that you're voting for people that you feel represent you the best. This November, I'll be voting to protect immigrants, to protect women's equality, to protect the LGBTQ community.
And what I'm here to talk about is all the things that I'm going to be standing up for when it comes to voting. And what it comes down to is women's rights, LGBTQ rights, affordable health care, and the battle against climate change. Not only are these things affecting me, but they affect the people that I love and care about. They affect the people that I work with. So what I'm asking you is, what are you passionate about? And are you going to be standing up for your passions when it's time to vote?
I believe in standing up for equality in all the world.
It's important for you guys to get out and vote because this is your opportunity to elect officials or representatives that align closely with your beliefs, your morals, your values, and your ideas. I read somewhere that if you vote like it matters, then it really will. So let's make sure that you guys get out and vote.
Don't ghost the vote. Make sure that you request your absentee ballot today and be the change that you want to see. Stop letting other people write your story for you.
There's so much going on in the world right now that I can't even form a coherent sentence about it, but we all know that some things need to change.
Not only do these things matter to me, but they affect all of the people around me. Vote with me November 3rd and every election that follows.
My vote is my voice, whether it's to impact homelessness, healthcare, and so many other issues that I'm passionate about. You have a voice too. Register to vote. And if you're too young or ineligible, you still can make an impact. Don't underestimate that. Get your family and friends registered and get them out to vote. Your voice is unique and it's irreplaceable.
Voting is important on national and local levels because that's where we decide the important details of where funding and access comes from. Whatever your priority is, voting is how you can make it a reality. I want to hear from you. I want to know what's important, and casting your vote is how we can make that happen.
Voting is incredibly important to me because we can't be silenced. We are the change that we're going to make in the future.
I think voting's so important because the older generation has had all the decision making and all the power for as long as I can remember. Using my vote, I'm able to take some of that power back and I'm able to give it back to the people I care about and the community I live in. So if I wouldn't trust my mom to pick out my outfit, why would I trust her to pick out my president?
There's some serious injustice going on in the country right now, and I think it's really up to the voters to get out this season and really stand up for what's right, what you believe in, and what you really see for the future of this country and yourself.
It's important to vote in your national elections because, yeah, you decide your president, your senators, your governors, but those people also decide not only the tone of the government, but the individual agencies, and also they decide the cabinet. It's also important to vote in your local elections because they decide the same things and the tone of government in your local areas.
So of course we know that we're going to be voting for our next president and vice president of the United States. And we know that these individuals are going to shape the course of our nation and shape the perception of our nation across the world. However, we also have very many important local seats that are going up for election this year. Some may be senators, some may be governors, congressmen, commissioners, sheriffs. And I just wanted to stress to you guys the importance of making sure that you get educated and you vote appropriately for what you think is going to suit you and suit your communities within your local elections.
And if you're not registered to vote, get on that shit. Go grab your absentee ballot today and go fucking vote.
Don't ghost the vote.
Please go fucking vote.
Don't ghost the vote. Yes, you right there. Don't ghost the vote.
Request an absentee ballot, register to vote online, work in your poll place.
If you want to see a change, something that you love, go fucking vote, man.
Go fucking vote.
together we can make a difference if you don't ghost the vote.
Go fucking vote.
Let's get you registered to vote.
Don't ghost the vote.
It's super easy, and you should be sure to request your absentee or mail-in ballot today.
Get out there and fucking vote.
Just go fucking vote, guys.
Don't ghost the vote.
Register to vote.
Go fucking vote.
So please, don't ghost the vote, go fucking vote, and show up on November 3rd. I thank you, Zoomies thanks you, and the world will thank you too. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
I hear your eyes and I see those cries. I hear those eyes and I see those cries. I can't be the only one who hears you. Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in the room. Fears, tell me fears, don't get me started. I get a little gray hair for every scare you share. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in my...
All right. So if you aren't already registered to vote, I hope you took a few screen grabs or maybe some notes from our ghost friends, and now you know what you need to do to get registered.
It's so crazy to me that there's some states where you still have to register in person. I mean, it's 2020, not 1970.
I know. Well, New Hampshire and Wyoming are still stuck in 1970 because you have to go register in person for both of those states. And if that's you, you have until October 19th for Wyoming and October 27th for New Hampshire.
It's good to know. What are some of the people in the chat standing up for, Cassidy? It looks like we've got a lot of posts.
Oh, you know what? Yes. Okay. Let's see. So the first one that I can see is from Thartfield. So it says that I stand up for inclusion, equality, fairness, and representation for everyone. Vote your heart and compassion for your fellow Americans to create a better world than what we have now. We are the future. Let's see, we also have Lubrick. So I stand for peace, immigration rights, racial equality, and LGBTQ, affordable healthcare, housing, and women's rights. And let's see, we'll do one more. We have from Gay Tendo is, I can't vote because I'm too young, but I stand for peace. We need peace because of what's happening right now, and also climate change because we probably have 7 years to save Earth. And lastly, racial equality because we need to be treated equally.
Those are some really cool things to stand up for. So I know you guys have been asking for the codes. I see you posting. So heads up, we do have our very first piece of the Big Zoomy Stash code for you all. It's going to be DON, that's capital D-O-N. It's also dropping in the chat, so stick around. We're going to be posting more codes throughout the event. But up next, why don't we go ahead and hear from some of the people behind your favorite brands. Hit it.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Guy from A Lost Cause here.
What up? It's Patrick from Accomplice reporting live from Colorado.
What's up? My name is Mikey. I'm the co-founder and co-owner of Boss Talk.
Yo, what up, guys? This is Riley from Learn to Forget, or LTF for short.
Hey guys, it's Victoria, Ryan, and Rooney from Petals and Peacocks.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Daniel Cassidi, founder and CEO of Rasta Clot.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Ryan Townley, and I'm standing up and voting this fall because I want to see political leaders of this country stand up against racism, sexism, and police brutality. I think it is important to stand up for those who have less of a voice than we do.
If you want to see a change in the country, you have to vote. I know a lot of people say your vote doesn't matter. That's just ignorance. Your vote really does count.
I'm standing up to vote this fall because it's a privilege that I don't want to waste, and it feels like there's more at stake now than ever in my lifetime. voting is my way to have a voice. I want this country to be better. I want to stand up for my LGBTQ community. I want to stand up against racial injustice to see this country become safer in these crazy times through this pandemic.
You know the election's coming up real soon, so just want to reach out and say, what are you standing up for? For us, it's all about the environment and global warming. Clearly, the douchebags up in Washington don't care about what's going on with the environment, so it's up to you and I to make a difference and vote so we can help save this planet that's slowly dying.
I will be voting this year to erase racism, get rid of systemic oppression, the Green New Deal. Any candidate on a local, state, or national level is getting my vote that supports that, because climate change is a factor that's threatening everybody, and I'm trying to protect places like this from drought, famine, fires, flooding, food scarcity, and all those things. So come out.
And I just want to let you know it's super important you go out there and vote this year. Here in California, we have Proposition 18, which allows 17-year-olds the ability to vote in primaries and special elections. I think that's really cool because any chance we have to have the younger generation's voices heard at that scale is just really important to me. And obviously global warming is another issue that I feel strongly about. It's affecting the whole world right now. And right now in California, all the way up through Oregon to the top of Washington, there's unprecedented wildfires going on. And I personally want to vote for an administration that's going to tackle those problems head on with logic and science and reason. And you can agree with me or not on that, but either way, it's important that if you want your voice heard, you need to do the work.
Your vote is your voice. Now more than ever, we need everyone to come in, go to the ballots, and vote.
Just want to inspire you guys to go out there and vote this November. For me, it's going to be all about equality, racial equality, gender equality, and voting in the leaders that truly represent the values that we want to have as a nation.
Here is why you need to vote. Because when you vote at a local level, you do affect change. You can affect change at a local level. When you vote at a national level, yes, it's two sides of the same coin. I do see that perspective, but you are choosing people who have the power to make decisions on federal judges. Federal judges have the power to make decisions that affect us for a lifetime. Things like abortion laws, things like immigration laws, things like whether or not our zoning laws are racist. So we do need to vote at a national level, and it does make a difference.
Exercising my right to vote is one way that I can fight for all those things.
Voting is important because elections have consequences. Not voting is giving up your voice. Voting is the opportunity for change and is a way to show up for your community and people who are close to you.
Please get out there, and if you've been protesting this year, and if you've been vocal about all the oppression that's been going on, keep that same energy and take it to the polls.
If you think this pandemic is bad we're in now, it's going to get a hell of a lot worse if we don't sort this shit out. So it's important stuff you got to do, man. You got to not ghost this vote, man. You got to get involved. You got to register yourself to vote for sure. You got to request your absentee ballot, man, which means you can vote from anywhere. You can sit on your lazy ass in your house and vote right from there. No stress, no worries.
Vote with me. I'm going to vote early. That way I don't have to deal with the lines. I know it's counted. Let's do this.
Go fucking vote.
Don't ghost the vote.
If you're not registered, go out there and get registered.
You need to go fucking vote.
Remember, get registered to vote. Don't ghost the vote.
Get registered to vote today.
And then last of all, go fucking vote, man. Let's show these people what up. Woo!
Welcome back. So, Kate, why do you think young people feel like their voices don't matter?
That's a really good question, Cassidy. I think maybe some people don't go out and vote or don't use their voice because there might not be a political party or a candidate that necessarily aligns with their beliefs. So they don't think their voice is really being represented.
Dude, you're totally right. And another thing is, we're trying to break that stigma of voting and people talking about voting and making it a normal part of what we do every day. So I'm excited to see how many young people we have, especially the ones in the chat. Like, you guys are the ones who are going to be making the changes. You have a voice. I'm really excited to hear how you guys are going to be using it. So up next, we're actually going to be hearing from young people who are using their voices to take action and create real change in their communities. So they're doing the work and they're helping to create the change they want to see in the world. But first, we do have the second piece of that big Zoomy stash code for all of you. So Kate gave you the first part. This is the second part. The code is TGHO. We will be dropping that in the chat, but once again, it's TGHO. So make sure you stick around and collect them all so that you can get those major points. And do you still want to win one of those Zoomies gift cards or a t-shirt from the stand-up collection or one of those limited edition posters? Make sure you're hitting that chat and keep telling us what you're standing up for and what you're going to be using your voice for and why. So we will be picking our favorites and we're going to be announcing the winners at the end of the stream.
Jones, ACH, I got the shortcut. Got on my side, you got bad luck. Look at how they all doubt us, yeah, they doubt us, yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated, yeah.
Hey everybody, happy National Voter Registration Day and welcome to part one of our Take Action panel. I'm Laura Crenshaw, I'm the district manager of Zoomies in South Florida, and I am so incredibly stoked to be your host because today we're talking about how voting impacts the issues that you already care about and how you can get involved to make a difference. So we actually have some badass, inspiring individuals on our panel today. So let's jump in and say hi. When you guys are ready, let me know. All right, from Skate Like a Girl, we've got Director of Development, Kim Woozy. What's good, Kim?
What's up? Thanks for having me. Hey, everyone.
Hey, thanks for being on, man. Student Ambassador of the Andrew Goodman Foundation, Cyrus Commissariat. Hey, Cyrus.
Hi, thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy you're here, dude. From Voto Latino, campaign fellow Patricia Granda Malaver. What's up, girl?
Hey, super excited to be here.
Stoked, man. And then finally from Rock the Vote, Youth Ambassador Katarina Holtapple. What you doing?
Hi, everyone. So glad I could be here.
Glad you're here too, man. For everybody that's at home, as you already know, we've got the chat live running right now. So feel free to drop a question down there for our panelists, and we'll try our best to answer some at the end of the discussion. But let's actually just jump right into it. And Patricia, I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little about yourself. What do you stand up for and why?
Yeah, so just a bit about me. Like you mentioned, I'm here with Voto Latino. For those of you that don't know, Voto Latino is a grassroots, nonpartisan political organization focused on educating and empowering youth, Latinx, and just making sure they know about how to create an inclusive democracy and ensuring they can have these conversations when it comes to the election cycle. We've already been able to register about 300,000 voters this cycle, and we really want to reach that 500,000 mark. So I just started with this amazing team a couple weeks ago, and we've already hit the ground running with a bunch of text banks that I'll go more into. And I guess when it comes to what I stand for, I think the perfect kind of summary is hashtag En La Lucha, which is something we've been using for a campaign with, for Voto Latino. It just stands for in the fight. And I think that it really just encapsulates why I'm sure a lot of the panelists stand up and why I'm personally so invested in voters' rights, just because it really is a fight. It really is a fight to ensure we have a good future, that we protect our communities, and for so many other personal reasons. So yeah, that's just a bit about me.
I love it. I don't know, maybe we could drop that hashtag down in the chat, because we could get some viewers to actually use it. I love it. I'm going to use it. Cyrus, same question, bro. Tell us a little about yourself. What do you stand up for and why?
Yes, so hello, I'm Cyrus. I'm a senior at Arizona State University. I'm majoring in political science, history, and French, so they keep me busy. But I think more specifically why I'm here is my work with the Andrew Goodman Foundation and the Pasteur Center for Politics and Public Service in ASU. So we work to register college students to vote. We work to institutionalize pro-voting practices at the largest public university in the country. And you know, we register hundreds of voters every year. We do voter engagement events, and I'm very proud to be here with you. And so the reason why I kind of started doing this work is to ensure education equity in Arizona. We have a crisis of education, a lack of funding, a lack of resources, a lack of investment in Arizona's children. And so that's kind of how I've gotten involved and stayed involved in this work. I think when voters are educated, they choose pro-education candidates themselves.
That's awesome, man. And you know, for those of you who don't know what the Andrew Goodman Foundation is, I would definitely check it out. You know, just Google Andrew Goodman Foundation. You know, his story, he was an ally, and it's so important these days to have allies, and the story itself is inspiring, and you're inspiring for being here, man. So thanks, dude. Katarina, let's go on to you. Same question. Tell us a little about yourself. What do you stand up for and why?
Yeah, so my name's Katarina, and I've been working with Rock the Vote since June, actually. So I started because I knew I wanted to get involved in this election cycle somehow. I am very passionate about educating and standing up for yourself and creating kind of inclusive communities. And I think that the way that we really have all views represented and a really inclusive society is for everyone to have their voices heard. And so I'm really proud of the work that Rock the Vote has done. And I'm really excited to share more about what I've learned with them, what we work on to make sure that everyone who's watching can also get a chance to get registered, vote, and know what they're voting on.
Love it, love it. And everybody knows what Rock the Vote is, so it's awesome that you're tied to Rock the Vote at such a young age. So thanks for being here. Next question, we're going to actually start with you, Cyrus. What was the first step that you took to get involved and, you know, just to impact the issues within your community? What were some of the first steps you took?
Yeah, so I think my involvement kind of started with first the Arizona Education Association, which is Arizona's largest teachers union. I worked for their advocacy bargaining unit when I was 18, I think. And I worked with their policy department, and we looked at kind of what the systems are that create this inequality in our education system. And then actually a little bit earlier, I worked on then Congresswoman Sinema's 2016 re-election campaign when I was 17. And those connections and just learning about the process and what does it look like to engage a voter, I think those are skills that I have kept with me and kind of learned more during my time. So that's kind of how the two organizations that really invested in me when I was a little bit younger, you know, early on to get me involved in this stuff.
Yeah, really early on. That's awesome. I love it. Patricia, same question. What was the first step you took to get involved in, you know, to impact the issues in your community?
Yeah, so just a bit of background. I was born in Lima, Peru, but I currently reside in Georgia. And I feel like just being from Georgia, seeing all the voter suppression that y'all have probably seen on the news, on Twitter and everything trending, really made that an issue that I was always aware of. I recently graduated from Columbia University, and there I was really involved with BIPOC and first-gen low-income issues and advocating for anything that came up in those communities as a low-income Latina myself, and also as a student body president my senior year. And so now that I've graduated, I'm with Voto Latino through the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute Public Policy Fellowship. So shout out to all of my CHCI fellows right now that are listening in to the panel. But obviously you don't have to like graduate college and get a job and everything to get involved. Like I mentioned, the first step really is just having that passion and wanting to make that difference and making sure your voice is heard regardless of what age you're at. You don't even have to be 18 to volunteer with our text banks to get involved with these different virtual events that Voto Latino hosts. So yeah, I think that was really my first step, just having that passion, and then two, making sure you find that organization that has those events like Voto Latino, like Rockvote, like all the other organizations we're going to be mentioning, and having those resources at hand, because you can really make a difference regardless of what age you're at.
That's awesome. And I think a lot of younger people that I come across in our stores, they have that passion, and sometimes it's just hard for them to understand which direction to go with that passion. So it's really cool to hear your story. Katarina, same question. The first step you took to get involved.
Yeah, so, well, my background is that I actually grew up abroad for most of my life. So I went to university abroad, I went to high school partially abroad. And so I started realizing how difficult it was for a lot of my friends to register to vote, because if you're in the US and you have a state ID, you can often just go online, you put in your ID number, and that's it. But I was encountering a lot of my friends who hadn't been in the US when they turned 16, had never learned how to drive, and were really, really struggling to have their voices heard because they couldn't even get to the step of registering. And so that got me really fired up in terms of helping people figure out, who do you have to call? What other documents do you need? And then eventually kind of in university building out to hosting, we had debate watch parties and education sessions with political science professors. We also worked with local American groups to host like a global primary on our campus, because our campus had a lot of American students and staff that couldn't make it out to the site in the city, but this way we could host it on campus. And so doing all of these things made me realize how really small actions, renting out a room and bringing in a representative who could host a global primary meant hundreds of more of my friends and like just American citizens could have their voices heard in elections. And so that really got me interested in figuring out how to support people to register, how to make the process easier, smoother, how to make sure that information is online. And I think this year with COVID and all of the changes that are coming along with that, it's so difficult sometimes to know what is happening. And that's why Rock the Vote and all these other organizations that have that information in one place are so crucial, because we don't have the same resources that we typically did in an election year.
Sure. That's awesome. And again, it kind of goes back to like, you identified a problem that your friend was having, and then you figured out the solution, and you wanted to help others to actually, be able to do it as well. So that's awesome to hear. Kim, same question.
Sure, yeah, and I'll just introduce myself a little bit. Kim Woozy, she, her pronouns. I'm actually the Director of Development at Skate Like a Girl. A little bit different than the organizations here, but we are a nonprofit. We're based in Seattle, Portland, and the Bay Area, and we're actually celebrating 20 years. We were founded 20 years ago up in Washington State. So we're definitely a stand for creating gender and racial equity, starting with the skate space, skate parks, skate spaces as a microcosm for the world. We believe that what you learn on a board and the experiences you have through skateboarding can translate to who you are in the world. So we're definitely all about like giving that access to folks who historically have not had that access, whether that's youth or women or girls or trans folks or gender nonconforming skaters. So that's a little bit about Skate Like a Girl. And how I first got involved was similar to Katarina. I grew up in the Bay Area in California, left, for school and came back. And I noticed that all I ever wanted, as a young person was a community to skate with and people to learn to skate with, and people that looked like me. And when I came back, like 15 years later, 10 years later, that still didn't exist. So sort of how I got involved was just taking that first step and volunteering, finding Skate Like a Girl, meeting them up in Seattle, and then figuring out how I could volunteer and get involved And that sort of, evolved into today where I'm a director here in the Bay Area. And we started with just grassroots events that now have formalized into school programs, camps, regular reoccurring programs that are accessible. And we serve, thousands of people, and we create space for, young people and adults in all of the West Coast and beyond, because we went virtual this summer.
Yeah, everybody had to kind of go virtual. And I'm actually super excited to see what happens with Wheels of Fortune coming up soon, because it just seems like such a cool event. So so excited about that. Let's actually continue with you, Kim, if you don't mind. Sure. Can you actually tell us about the work that you're currently doing within Skate Like a Girl?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's shifted a little bit this year. We've taken essentially everything that we do and have tried our best to make it virtual. But our traditional kind of programming is skate lessons and kind of structured programming for youth, as well as women and trans folks. So historically, these identities have been marginalized or have not shown up in skate spaces. And so we really create intentional space to include them, invite them, make it safe, to share the gift of skateboarding with them. So we have these ongoing educational programs where it's not just skateboarding. Of course, everyone's developing their skate skills, but it's also life lessons, leadership, teamwork, community building, social justice. Again, we use the skate park as sort of this microcosm for the world. Something else we're really excited about right now is we're developing, last year we launched, but we're kind of continuing to develop a program called Ally Skate. And it's basically an opportunity to have a conversation, an intentional conversation, a facilitated kind of workshop conversation for folks who want to be part of, building that bridge and making skateboarding inclusive, and how to do that, right? We don't always necessarily have the space to do that, or there aren't people who want to have that conversation. So we're creating an environment where folks can have that. And we believe that the work isn't just happening, it's not effective happening in like an isolated kind of world. So people always ask, like, are your programs only for girls or those who identify as girls or women? And we're always like, no, it's actually for everyone. It's just gonna look different. Everyone has a role to play, and we're building that world that we wanna see with everyone's involvement.
I love it. I mean, you can't go wrong with more inclusivity. Like, that's just a great thing to see and hear. So great. Thank you, Kim. Katarina, same question. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you're currently doing within your organization?
Yeah, I think the first thing I want to say is actually I've been learning how to skate this quarantine, and so it is something that's really intimidating. And I think similarly, trying to start something new or do something new that you don't have a community or support to do. And I don't want to like make too much of a jump, but I do think that that relates to voting. Is if you grew up in a community that your parents didn't necessarily know exactly how to vote, or worse, your polling locations are being shut down, and so it's becoming a lot harder for you to vote. I think that's where it's really important that we have grassroots and community organizers and also just a youth organizing together. One of the things that Rock the Vote does is we've kind of pioneered a lot of the online voter registration systems. So a lot of the times you'll see at the bottom of websites or links that Rock the Vote is powering that voter registration portal. And so this year, so in 2020, we've registered over 1 million people, which is really exciting and really big. And I'm hoping that that number just continues to increase. I know that today is a big day for us, so we're going to see what that number is at the end of the day. And what my role is within kind of the organization is actually we respond to almost every text and email that we get. So I'm actually going to kind of plug our information here. If you want to text register to 788-683, that will go through kind of partially automated, but also like there are people like me on that line who will answer any questions you have, whether that's an issue with voting, finding your voting place, or any other questions. And then our email is info@rockthevote.org. And that's also something that we're checking regularly. So any questions you have, feel free to email us and text us, because I think that that's so important, is to actually have someone who can walk you through, who can point you to in the right resources. So please email that or contact us that way. And I guess the final thing I want to say with Rock the Vote is that we're really focused on youth. And so I encourage you to get involved in our programs and our events. And if you're interested in joining us as a youth ambassador or any other things, those are all on our website. We're always looking for more people because, as we've kind of mentioned today, it's so important to have a diverse and kind of all new voices, diverse voices, inclusive voices in our ambassador program. So please contact us, visit our website to learn more.
Awesome. Thank you, Katarina. Appreciate it. Cyrus, same question. Tell us about the work that you're doing within Andrew Goodman Foundation.
So I just want to start by saying, based on what Katarina said, if anything that we say piques your interest, feel free to do the Googles and hit us up. Everyone loves talking about themselves. That's why we're all on this panel. I promise no one will ever say no to FaceTiming or Zooming about themselves. So that is my first piece of advice. And then what we do at the Andrew Goodman Foundation, we do a lot of things, and more specifically at Arizona State, we focus on institutionalizing practices that make it easier for students to vote. So some things that we're really proud of is our work with student athletes. One of our other ambassadors is Olivia Miller, and she's one of ASU's softball players. And she has really taken it in hand to register student athletes to vote and get them thinking about their civic responsibilities. And those are communities that have not been reached out to. And those are student populations that no one is talking to. We're also working to engage STEM students. We're planning a hackathon with Democracy Works, sorry, Rock the Vote. Those are some other people in the democracy tech space. And we're planning a hackathon with them. Alexis Salmon is our other ambassador who's doing that. We have a civic engagement coalition that we run just to make sure everyone at the university is talking to each other about the good work that we're doing, so no one is repeating efforts. We have our hand in so many different pots, but I think that's a pretty good snapshot of all the things that we do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm sure Rock the Vote, Katarina Rock the Vote doesn't mind. I mean, we're all doing this for the same reason, right? And the same goal. So awesome. Patricia, Voto Latino. What have you been doing in Voto Latino?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, just in general, we, our mission is to empower and educate youth Latinx. But, as Kim mentioned, now with the virtual world, it's really hard to kind of have those connections formed, especially with our volunteers. We have almost 4,000 volunteers nationwide. So I'm on the campaigns team. And like I mentioned, we do a lot of those text banks. And something we really try to focus on is making sure there's that sense of familia, that sense of family, that when you sign up, like Katarina said, even if you don't know what you're doing, if you're less than 18, maybe you've never even voted before, you have that support. So we make sure that we research ahead of time. So there's even scripts for every single text bank. So you literally just have to press a button. And if you have any issues, we have like a Slack channel, which is a texting app where you're able to send us any questions you might not know about. So I feel like we really make sure we research and prepare ahead of time so our volunteers feel secure and they just are energized and continue having that passion to vote. And just today, not to vote, but also to volunteer. And another thing, for example, we did today was having a Zoom call with the volunteers, and we have like a playlist playing. We had recommendations sent in from volunteers, everything from like Bad Bunny to Elvis Crespo for all of those that grew up listening to salsa and all of that. And just to clarify, you don't have to identify as Latinx or even speak fluent Spanish to volunteer with us. So we even have the scripts written out in Spanish if you do have someone that responds in Spanish. So those are just a little bit of things that we're doing and just ensuring that we really make every volunteer feel like they have the resources to succeed as a Voto Latino volunteer. And I've also sent in a link where you can check out, we'll put it in the chat, different events that are coming up. We have a census text bank coming up. So we don't just do things like registering to vote, but we do census text banks. We do vote by mail, all these different important issues that are super quick to sign up and get involved. If you don't click on the link, you can also just text volunteer at 73179, and we'll also send that information in the chat box.
Cool. That's awesome. Sounds like a cool place to volunteer for sure. Cool. Moving on, Cyrus, this question's for you. Why do you think that it's important for young people to get involved today?
I think, right, so I think we're in a place right now in our American democracy where people just aren't talking to each other. We're very divided. We're not happy with the other side, you know, regardless of which side you're on. And I think young people are just as much a part of the solution as any other demographic, if not more so. I think this is the time when you build the habit of voting, when you get comfortable speaking about what your values are and what your politics are. And really, it's a responsibility that we have to assume as citizens of this country. And I just think that, you know, young people's values are not necessarily the same as the previous generation, and we have so much to add. And there's so many ways to do that, right? With Mi Familia Vota, with different campaigns, with Rock the Vote, you can get a look into your democracy and build those connections that will last you throughout your career.
I love it. I agree 100%. Kim, same question. Why do you think it's important?
I think I always try to look at everything through the lens of skateboarding because that's the world I'm in. But if we take skateboarding as an example, it's unique in the sense that it is a culture that's always been driven by the youth, the participants. And so it's always being recreated, redefined, restructured. And over the years, I've been in the skate community and industry for over a decade now. I've seen it change. When there's something that wasn't working, we got to work and we created something because there really wasn't a lot of people saying, you know, we couldn't. And it took us getting in action, like definitely finding friends who felt, you know, the same way and working together, coming together as a team, as a group, and making things happen. So I think, you know, using skateboarding as an example, again, as a metaphor for our larger society, I believe that, you know, like if we work together and if young people, you know, come together, we have the drive, we have the passion, we have the creative skills, we have the tech skills to really rally and like be that change, right? So I think the power lies in the youth, and it's up to us, you know, to see like how do we want the next 4 to 8 years, you know, to go. So I'm always a believer in having those who are, you know, having the lived experience, those who are, you know, on the ground, the solution and some of the best ideas are going to come from us, right?
For sure, 100%. Katerina, same question. Why do you think it's important for young people to get involved today?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing is actually just sheer numbers. So actually, Gen Z and millennials will make up almost 40% of the potential voters this year. So that's actually, it's the number is closer to 37. So 37% of potential voters are Gen X or Gen Z, sorry, and millennials, which means that we have a huge amount of power and a lot of influence in this election if we all show up to vote. And of course, the problem is that young voters tend to not show up at the polls. And so I think that this would be such a great way to show how invested we are in politics, in our future, in our country, to really show up and vote. Because we do have a big say. The idea that young people don't have a say or won't have their voices heard is, you know, not true if we show up. And that number is something that's really been sticking with me throughout this year, just to kind of remind myself that we have a lot of power in that. And I think even if you're not 18 yet, even if you're not eligible to vote, this year is really unique in the sense that we have a poll worker shortage. And there are a lot of folks who would normally work at the polls who are typically over 60 years old who can't do that because they're the most vulnerable group for the pandemic. And so if your locality allows it, becoming a poll worker, which in a lot of counties actually is paid. So becoming a poll worker, offering to drive friends or people who can't get to the polls, just checking in with your friends, making sure your cousins, your family, your neighbors, that they're all registered. That kind of relational organizing, that kind of organizing amongst your community, amongst your friends is really powerful. And I think that all of that together means that the youth will really have a say in what is ultimately going to impact us the longest. Because as much as these elections will impact everyone, we're the ones who will have to deal with it for decades to come. And so making sure that we know what we're voting for, we know who we're voting for, and we know how we're voting is so important.
Sure. Yep. 100%. Patricia, you're on. Same question. Why do you think it's important for young people to get involved?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with what everyone has said thus far. I think in general, just being young, there is issues that we care about, like climate change, income inequality, racial issues, the list goes on. But sometimes it feels like, okay, I can like repost something on Instagram, do this, is it really making a difference? And sometimes, like we mentioned, there might be people that have that passion but maybe just don't know the right organization, the right resources to reach out to. So I just think that it's really important to know that regardless of your age, your voice does matter and you can get involved. You can make a difference even outside of just voting day of, making sure you stay informed, not just about the general, the presidential election, but then also, honing in on your local elections and who's running, making sure you don't show up uninformed, making sure your close friends, your family members, are also involved and are signed up and registered to vote. So I think all of those things are super small things that anyone that's young can easily do. And then just an additional thing, this is more of a personal reason of why I think it's important to vote, but just voting for those who can't. As someone that has family that they're residents, so they can't vote, or if you have friends that are on DACA, so many different reasons why you can't, these friends can't vote and maybe have been in America for years, making sure you make their voices heard too by actually showing up. So when I first voted in 2016, when I was 18, that was the first time my grandma ever voted. And because, she had been in the US for about 50 years, but it had taken her a while to get her citizenship, just because it takes so much time in terms of learning the language, being able to study for it, being able to have the money for it. So yeah, I mean, that for me was a really big reason and really inspiring to be able to know that my grandma that was, almost here for 50 years, to be able to vote the first time I voted was just crazy to me. So just always remember that even if it's not for you, making sure that you're voting, because there's really people out there who can't.
Sure. I love it. I love it. One of the reasons that I've heard, younger people say that they're not going to vote is because it doesn't matter. Right. So you guys being so connected into your communities, into your organizations, what are some ways that you've personally seen voting and civic engagement impact your local communities? Cyrus, let's start with you, man.
Yeah, sorry. So your question was, what are some ways I missed it.
Voting and civic engagement actually impact your communities?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, what a difference an election makes, and we've seen this in Arizona. We're a state that's in transition politically. As I'm sure many of you are aware, we are considered a swing state this go round. There's a lot of potential right now to make some really positive changes. We elected a superintendent last election cycle in 2018 who was friendly to LGBTQ plus students. And she has been working tirelessly to change the curriculum to be more inclusive. We elected a state elections officer who actually does the work to reach out to communities of color and who works to reach young people. So, the impact of your vote is, it's really astronomical, especially in states like mine, where we're in a moment right now where there's some transition going on. There's a lot of hope and energy. And so, yeah, I think your vote absolutely does make a difference. And not just to mention the many local elections that, determine so much of our lives, right? Most of our interaction with government is done at the local level. Your city councilor, the county attorney, your state legislature. These are the people who are really making the decisions that are impacting your life. And so those elections are smaller, and your vote has the potential to really make a big difference.
For sure. Katarina, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, everything that Cyrus said is exactly right. Local elections are so important. I mean, I still remember, like in my county growing up, that there was a special proposition that was voted on, I think 5 or 6 years ago, that is still talked about today because it was kind of so tense and everyone really got out to try and vote and have their voices heard. And I grew up in the DC area. So obviously, I mean, I see the impact of civic engagement every day with who is in DC, what's happening in DC. And just one of the things that really stands out to me is, I think by virtue of where we were, my high school was really politically active. And I'm seeing that even now with people really trying to make sure that their voices are heard and that they're propping up other voices that might not be heard as much, thinking about how to make sure that things are, or at least that the way that our politicians are working, are canvassing, are getting out people to vote, is addressing as many people, is reaching out to as many people as possible. And so I think that when you're thinking about whether or not your vote counts, it really, really does. Because if you kind of write yourself off as a group that doesn't vote, so young people writing themselves off as a group that their vote doesn't matter, we shouldn't vote, politicians and other people are not going to try and reach out to us if we show ourselves, if we kind of write ourselves off to begin with. But if we show that we're there, we're engaged, we want to know, we have an interest, we want to vote, then that's how we make sure that our interests, our goals, all of that actually matters in our local elections, our state legislatures, and at the federal level.
Yeah, don't write us off. Don't write us all off, man. That's awesome. Kim, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, again, to bring it back to some of our examples, up in Seattle, we have a youth advisory board. And I think oftentimes maybe we forget that even something like skateboarding, if there's, skaters watching, how the local skate park gets billed, if it's a public park, which most parks are under the Parks and Recreation Department, that's determined by local government. So if you are advocating to get a park built, or a park's getting torn down or redesigned or something, like, your voice matters, showing up to these city council meetings, speaking out, connecting with local officials that represent you. A lot of the work that our youth advisory board up in Seattle does that. They're out, advocating for the things that they want to see, because that literally impacts them every day, right? I don't know if you've all experienced like skate parks that were built by not people who don't skate, and then they're essentially unusable, right? It's just like a weird design, like the hours are weird and all that. So I think that's an example. And also just to kind of share with everyone that, laws are essentially the things that really hold all of us to account. So just to share like a quick personal story, in California last year, there was a bill called Equal Pay for Equal Play, AB 467 was the name of the bill. And I went and testified at the state capitol in Sacramento at the Senate committee hearing. And I spoke just as a person, like a citizen and someone who's involved in the community on behalf of this bill. And this bill basically said that if there was a competitive event, such as a surf contest that required permits from the state, which a lot of surf contests do, or in the future, like a skate contest or any sort of athletic event, that if there were multiple gender categories, the prize pay needs to be equal. So if there's like a women's division and a men's division at the surf contest, the pay needs to be equal. And that wasn't a thing before. So oftentimes these events, there's a big inequity between the prizes, the prize money. So me just showing up and speaking, I really got that, like, everyone that was there, the senators, like, their face lit up as soon as I started talking about skateboarding, because one of them, who I didn't expect, he was an elder gentleman. He was like, "Oh, I used to skateboard back in the day." And that was just so cool. And I think what I got out of that whole experience was that, like, these people want to hear from us, right? Their job literally is to, like, represent our voices and our needs and wants. So whatever it is, like, that, whatever action you can take, whether it's showing up, speaking out, creating communication in the world of technology, and of course voting, like, it all matters, right? So that's something that I really see. It does make a difference, and it's not necessarily such a far away world. You got to just take the first few actions, and it takes time, right? But that doesn't mean, that's not an excuse to not do anything.
For sure. For sure. That's awesome. Patricia, what are some ways that you've seen voting and civic engagement impact your local community?
Yeah, so I mean, even just being with Voto Latino, I feel like we usually get a lot of emails, messages from volunteers being like, well, just, text banking actually make a difference? Like, is it actually reaching people? And until you actually do it, you maybe think, okay, there's no way that the couple hundred messages I'm going to send are really going to make a difference. But once you do it, you really engage with people, real voters, real people that are going to make a decision for that could impact the next 4 years. So today we had so many people sign up for National Voter Registration Day that we were able to send 100,000 messages in under an hour, which is insane that we were able to do that. But things like that just show that you really are making an impact even with those small decisions. And like I mentioned, we are at around 300,000 voters registered, and we really want to reach that 500,000 mark. And with those text banks, with that civic engagement, will ensure that that actually happens. And then just more on a local level, being from Georgia, I think everyone thinks that the South is very much this like monolithic, not that much diversity, but my county specifically is majority minority. So, super proud of that diversity and inclusivity found within my community, to the point that actually studies have shown that in 2050, Gwinnett County, its largest ethnic group is actually going to be Latinos, which is really awesome to hear. But this election, we're actually, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to flip this district. And I think that's because there was so much passion, so much energy after the 2018 midterm elections with all the voter suppression. So obviously happy for that, but also it shouldn't have to take all of these, really bad stories, all of these really bad mess ups from the government when it comes to voter suppression for people, especially young people, to want to go out and vote. So just ensuring that we keep up that civic engagement even after these elections, and making sure that continues even for midterm elections as well.
For sure. And I mean, like you guys said earlier, 37% of potential voters is us, right? Like, we have that impact. We have the ability to change all the things that you guys are talking about. So that's great. Thank you, guys. We have time for just one question real quick. And let me just pull this up. So from Bree Games 98, he or she wants to know, do we have to register every year? So let's start with Cyrus. What do you think?
No, so you don't have to register every year. Your registration doesn't lapse every year. There are certain states which are eager to kick their voters off the rolls for some silly reason or the other. So it is definitely good to check your registration every year, to make sure you're updating it when you move, when you have an address change, if you have a party change. I'm trying to think if there's any other reason, but I think those are the primary ones. So check your registration every year. You don't have to re-register every year. That is what my advice is.
Cool. Anybody else have any feedback on that as well?
Yeah, I can.
Or you go.
I can just add in also, if you change your name for any reason, you need to update your registration. And I will mention that North Dakota is the one state that doesn't require registration. So if you live in that state, you can go and just vote on election day without having to pre-register. And a lot of other states allow you to register on election day. So to kind of follow your state's policies, find out exactly what is necessary in order to register. But as Cyrus said, definitely check your registration every year. I know that I've gotten purged from the voter rolls before, so it's always a good idea to just double check before your state's deadline to make sure that you'll be eligible to vote in November.
Sick. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to ask you guys one more time, just any last words of encouragement or advice for our viewers out there today. Patricia, we'll start with you. What have you got for us?
Yeah, so I'll just say that, super glad that we were all here to hopefully motivate y'all. I'm sure a lot of you guys already have issues that you care about, but hopefully listening to us, listening to what we're doing, our roles, and knowing now about these organizations, you'll hopefully get involved. Click on those links. It's super easy. And yeah, just Latinos always say pa'lante. So, like moving forward, going forward. So I'll just end it with that.
Thank you, Patricia. Katerina, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm so glad that I could be here. I'm so glad that so many people are watching and listening, and hopefully everyone took something away. And I think if I could say one thing is just, if you can get yourself and 3 friends to the polls to vote, that's such a huge, that has such a huge impact. And so I really encourage you to start talking with your friends, start sharing things on social media, just get the word out there, make elections and voting a really common part of what we do every November, and that'd be great.
Beautiful. Love it. Cyrus?
I just wanted to say it's very cool that Zoomies is doing something like this, that a company is doing something outside generally of what they would do, right? To make sure that young people are engaged. And so I would encourage you all to look and see what their peers are doing. What are other companies in this space doing? Do you like what they're doing? Does it meet your expectations, and does it match your values? And also, as I said before, feel free to hit any of us up. We can connect you with people in your states. We know all of the things, or we'll find someone who does. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Cyrus. And Kim, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I just want to say that if you're here and you're watching, just I acknowledge you for being here. Your attention is one of the most valuable things you have. So it's awesome that you're here and listening to, what we have to share, and hopefully it was valuable. And secondly, just like skateboarding, change takes time, and it's not always easy, and doesn't happen instantly, even though I want everything to happen right away. But even if you just take that one action, that's one more action, one step towards the goal. So that's what we say about teaching skateboarding. It's hard. You don't learn to kickflip overnight. But if you just get on your board and roll around today, like that is one more thing you did. So I would say with whatever it is that we want to see in our country, same thing, take one action, and it's never too small.
I love it. That's an awesome place to close this out. That was very well said, Kim. Thank you so much. And thank you all for sharing, what you guys stand up for. Thank you for sharing your stories. There are a lot of people watching right now who are impacted by, these things that you guys are fighting for every day. And, when they see you guys stand up and represent them, it gives more people courage to stand up and do the same thing. So thank you for standing up. Thank you for spreading the word that voting matters. And of course, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it, guys. We're going to say bye to the panel. Bye, panel. If you're in the chat, don't go away yet. We're about to take a quick break, but don't close out this screen, because you might miss out on some giveaways and prizes coming up soon. But while you wait, if you could actually open up a new tab, and in your browser, just go to zoomies.com/standup, or the links that Voto Latino and Rock the Vote just gave you. Register to vote right now. Takes a couple seconds. If you're not registered, go for it. If you're already registered, hell yeah. But it only matters if you show up on November 3rd. Don't ghost the vote. Make your plans now. Go with your friends. Make it a party, but go. So thank you again to the panel. We're going to be going on break real quick. And then when we come back, we're going to be speaking with former Congresswoman Cristana Duran and the Honorable Judge Monique Diaz. So I'm super excited about that. It's going to be badass. But go register. Takes 2 seconds, and we'll be right back.
I hear your eyes and I see those cries. I hear those eyes and I see those cries. I can't be the only one who hears you. Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in the room. Fears, tell me fears, don't get me started. I get a little gray hair for every scare you share. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in my...
What's up, everyone? My name is Alex White, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit today about skaters vote. Get off my property! You're a liability. What if you got hurt? Well, you guys have heard it all. You know what it's like. Skaters are out there every day, and a lot of people don't think very highly of us. But did you know that your generation, Gen Z, talking to you, have the power to decide the future of this country right now, right here? And you're asking yourself, Alex, how do we do this? Well, there's a website, of course, skatersvote.com. Check out all the abouts, see all the cool downloads and graphics that we have that you can share with your local community, and check out your registration status, see if you're registered to vote, and register. It takes like 2 minutes, and you have the power to impact so much in your own community. Go there now. Go do it. And thank you.
Time you just wanna get away, come hop up in my ride. Two goofies on the run, couple 40s in the backseat. Spirits in my lungs, got my voice a little raspy. Turn me to a yes man. Before we do this, girl, I got a question. If I take you down, would you really hold me down and be your best friend? She just wanna hit me with a quickie by the pool, and I'm like, yes, ma'am. Got me feeling for your body, you might turn me to a yes man. Oh yeah. 80 and a 40, I'm a nervous bitch, I'm flyer than your ex man. Oh, yeah, flyer than your ex, like oh my god. Ride into your legs like oh my god. And let's go on a date like oh my god. When I'm back from LA like oh my god, yeah. She still think it's odd, yeah. I got all these fans, she's the only one I want, yeah. Impress me with your mind, I might turn you to a mom, yeah. You might get a pension if you work it for me long, yeah. It's gonna be a long, yeah. I don't know how they get like that. Recognize my wrongs and get them fixed like that. Booming through my city with my people all around. Is you coming with me or you staying on the ground, yeah? Yes or no, how'd it go? Where your man? Do you got one on the low? Oh, you do? How'd I know? Born in 1994, you still a scrub. But I still don't think you notice how to love. But I gotta know that if I take you down, would you really hold me down? I'd be your best friend. She just wanna hit me with a quickie by the pool, and I'm like, yes, man. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. The way you got me feeling for your body, you might turn me to a yes, man. Bitch, I'm flyer than your ex, man. I'm flyer than your next, man. I'm flyer than your... Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Or if you're just joining us, it's National Voter Registration Day. So you're actually hopping into part 2 of our Take Action panel. My name is Laura Crenshaw. I'm the district manager of Zoomies. In this segment, we're not only discussing how voting impacts the issues that you already care about. We're not just talking about how you can get involved. We're actually talking also about what it's like to hold public office. So joining us now is former Congresswoman Crisanta Duran. She was the first Latina Speaker of the House in Colorado state history. And now she's serving as the Director of Democrats for Education Reform in New York. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us, Kristan. Sorry. Kristan.
It's a pleasure to be here.
There we go. Now it's all downhill from here. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Also with us is the Honorable Judge Monique Diaz. She previously served at the Attorney General's office. She ran her own law firm and is now judge of the 150th District Court in Texas. So welcome and thank you for taking the time also to be here. So I guess let's jump right into it. So we're going to start off with Crisanta. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, you know, what it was that inspired you to hold public office, and how did you first get involved?
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you to everybody who organized this event, because I think it's so important that we're really working to reach out to communities across the country and let people know what is at stake in this election and why it's so important to get out and vote. For me, the journey to serve my community started at a young age. I ran for office when I was 29 years old, and decided to run for office because I was frustrated and angry at times. I thought there were a lot of issues in the community where I lived that was not being represented. It was not being made a priority by people in positions of power. And so decided to run for office, did a lot of organizing in the community to be able to build grassroots support to ultimately serve as a state representative. And I think that frustration and anger and even fear sometimes wasn't unique to me. I think a lot of people feel that, especially right now when we think about the future and everything that there is to fight for. I think part of public service is really understanding the power that each of us has within to be able to make the change that we need in our communities and to be the change that our communities need.
For sure. That's awesome. I mean, I think that we can all feel some sort of frustration with being underrepresented right now. So it's really inspiring to hear you say that, especially with your background and where you're from. So, you know, Crisanta, you've supported bills from the DREAM Act to educational funding to, you know, childhood cancer awareness. Which bill are you most proud of fighting for?
Gosh, it's such a great question, because I think that there were so many bills I've been able to be part of and solutions that have really meant a lot. But I think one of the bills that I'm most proud of was actually a referendum that was voted in favor of by the people of Colorado, and that was to prohibit gerrymandering. You know, right now, if you haven't filled out your census, please fill out your census forms. Those are very important in terms of funding that goes to different communities in the United States, but they're also very important because they check population per state. And in the future, there's going to be a redistricting and reapportionment process where basically all of the lines are redrawn for state legislative races, for congressional races. And the initiative that I was part of was an effort to be able to make sure that communities of color in particular are well represented when those lines are redrawn, that we prohibit gerrymandering in the state of Colorado, and that we really work to have competitive districts. And as we're thinking about the systems that need to change in this country, when we want to fight for racial equality and solutions to climate change, you know, we have to understand that there are systems in our country that are racist, that are sexist, that have oppressed people. And the only way that we can change those systems is if we have people in positions of power who are going to stand up for the issues that we believe in and actually work to change the systems to ensure that they're fair for everyone. And so that bill really meant a lot to me because it was a meaningful step to changing the system of redistricting and reapportionment in Colorado.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for also walking us through that whole process. I mean, it seems complicated and it seems confusing, but like you said, like, you know, if we have people in power like yourself who care about the same things that we do, then things like that get done. So thank you. Monique, we'll start with you again. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what it was that inspired you to, you know, hold public office, and how did you first get involved?
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. That's a tough act to follow, Crisanta. I'm such a fan. And I really appreciated her story because it's very similar to mine. And I think it's what we are seeing a lot of right now. And it's really exciting that people are getting up and they're being bold and running for office. And so for me, I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican. My family came here to give me the best opportunity as possible through education, and always raised me at a young age to be grateful for the gifts that I had and to use them somehow to give back to others. However, I wanted to interpret that to mean. And so my whole life, I kind of had that in me. And it's part of why I decided to go to law school to help others. Fast forward to 2016, I'd been practicing law for about 8 years, built up my own law firm. And much like many others across the nation after our elections, I felt a sense of helplessness, that I was listening to this really discouraging national discourse, and I felt like I couldn't do anything about it. And that was thankfully overcome by a sense of urgency, to rethink the way I was looking at it and to ask myself, well, can I do something about this? And the answer was yes, that we can all do something on a local level. If we can't affect what's happening nationally, you can do something on a local level. And I wanted to give back to my community that I grew up in, where I started my firm and went to school. And so with the gifts that I had, which was, thankfully an education, a law degree, I decided that I would make a difference try to make a difference by running for judge and being able to show people here on the ground that you can be treated with dignity and respect, no matter where you come from, how much money you have, who you love, what your age is. None of that should matter. You should be able to be treated with dignity and respect, especially from your elected officials. And I'd like to think that this position has given me an opportunity to do that. And I've just been really grateful for it. And I've made the most of it that I can. And I just want to point out, I know that Crisanta mentioned, everyone having the power to make a change. For me, something I had to overcome was imposter syndrome, feeling like I wasn't qualified enough to be the one that would run for a position and try to make a difference. And looking back on that, I really had nothing to be afraid of. Each and every one of you, if you're passionate about making a difference in your community, you can do that. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because you do have the power to make that change.
That's awesome. And just to kind of follow up with that, what were some challenges that you faced when you were running for public office, and how did you overcome challenges like what you were just talking about?
Well, I leaned on my peers, my family, and my friends a lot, but there were quite a few challenges. One of the challenges I had was, for example, I had failed the bar exam, and I had that weighing over me. And I know, we all have our skeletons in our closet, and for some people that makes you feel like, oh, you're never going to be qualified or pass the test to be able to run for office. And so, I just decided to come to terms with that and to go ahead and do it. And what came of that, if I can go back to when I failed the bar exam quickly, is that was for me a moment in my life where a door was completely shut in my face. And I thought this was the end of the world for me. And what happened was, when I looked the other way, I had another door open, and that was a door to volunteer on a political campaign. I didn't know anything about politics. And I thought, hey, why not? While I'm waiting to study for the bar exam, why don't I take this opportunity? And I never turned back, and I learned so much. And so I think it's important that when you're going forward and making a decision to run or to make a difference in your community, that you know your value, the positive value that you have, regardless of what you've dealt with in the past. You've overcome it. You've gotten to where you are today. You are worth it, and you can make a difference. And keep in mind that when one door shuts, keep your eyes open for another one to open, because you never know where that's going to lead you.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're all humans. So whenever we get kind of cut down at the knees, it's hard to kind of step back up. Right. So it's awesome that you persevered. So awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Crisanta, same question. What were some challenges that you faced when you were running for public office, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think we have to be aware at some of the barriers that are put in front of people to successfully be in office. And I think about this, from a gender perspective, uh, from the perspective of being a woman of color, from the perspective of just thinking through how do we break down some of the stereotypes that exist about how we perceive people should be or look like that are in positions of power. It was the honor of my life to serve as the first Latina Speaker of the House in the country and the youngest woman in Colorado to be able to do so. But when I think about the journey to be able to serve in that role, there's no doubt in my mind that I worked twice as hard and worked to be twice as smart because of the level of perfectionism that is demanded of people who are from different backgrounds to be in positions of power and to even be considered to be in positions of power. And I think that we have to really think about that as a society of what kind of culture do we want to have? Do we want people who are truly representative communities to be able to bring those voices forward and really strive, I think, for all of us, it's incumbent on all of us to create a fair processes where there's a level playing field, where people have the opportunity to be able to excel based on merit and qualifications and hard work and potential. And it's unfortunate that in the year 2020, we're still talking about some of these barriers, some of the stereotypes that can be challenging from people being able to succeed. But in order to be able to build an inclusive country, we have to be aware of these challenges in the workplace, in politics, in people's personal lives, and really work to be able to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table.
That's awesome. And Chrysanta, just to kind of continue that conversation, based off of that idea of like everybody having the level playing field and everybody having an opportunity, what advice would you give for, some people that are watching right now that maybe have never even considered the possibility of running for office because of those boundaries, right? And the feeling of not being able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to believe in yourself to be able to create the change that we need in this country. And it comes in a lot of different forms. For some people, it is running for office. For some people, it is making sure you vote. For others, it may be organizing people in your family or organizing people in your community to take action on a particular issue. And so I would say focus on what your passion is. What are those issues that are going to get you out of bed in the morning and be gung-ho to go and take action on and figure out what role you can play. I also think that, at different points in one's life, there's a variety of different roles that you can play to be able to make the change that we need to see. But there's no doubt, in this upcoming election, there is so much at stake. I feel like there is more at stake than ever before for an election, and that we are really at a crossroads in this country. And so, get out and vote. Let your family, your friends, people that you come across, just talking to them about why it's so important to get out a vote and make sure that your vote is counted.
That's awesome. And that's what we're talking about today, is making sure that we are heard and we're getting out there. We're not ghosting the vote. We're actually getting to the polls and getting it done. So Monique, same question. So what advice would you give for our audience who maybe doesn't feel like they have that possibility of running for public office?
So I'm a firm believer in not being afraid or embarrassed to ask for advice, to lean on other people, to reassure you if you're not sure, right? If you know you have those values, but you're not sure if it's the right time or the right position that you're trying to seek, lean on people that have been doing it for a while. Find out who in your community, to back up a little bit, I know Chrysanta mentioned, identifying the issues that you care about and figuring out how you can make a difference around those issues, whether it's running for office or otherwise. So starting there, identifying those issues, and then maybe reaching out to your local elected officials to ask them, who are some local organizations or thought leaders in my community that are working on these issues that I can reach out to? So it can be issue specific, it can be position specific. If you want to run for an office, then find out who in your community, reach out to, if you're going to run as a Democrat or as a Republican, reach out to your local party. Every county has a local party for the Democrats and Republicans. Reach out to them and tell them you're interested. Start networking with people that have similar interests, because that is going to open so many doors for you. Get as much advice as you can get, not just from experts, but from your family is really important too, because you can't do this alone. All right. You need to have the support of the village that you have around you. You're going to need that. You're going to want to lean on those people. So make sure that you have the support of your family, of your friends, and then ask everyone you can for advice. Is this the right time for you? What are the steps that you need to take? Make a plan. Making a plan is the best thing you can do for 1 year out, for 5 years out, for 10 years out. And I promise you, if you make that plan and you just try to stick to it, it doesn't have to be perfect. You will get to where you want to be.
That's awesome. And I love, I mean, a lot of times we feel scared to like ask for help and ask for advice. Or we feel, stupid, or we feel, that we just can't. So it's really great advice. For you, Monique, as well, why do you think that, especially right now, why is it important that younger people get involved today?
Well, besides the cliche that, younger people are our future leaders, literally, the rest of history, our future history is in the hands of our young leaders. And so that's obviously really critical, but also research shows that communities that have a high civic involvement from any age, right, including youth, end up having greater employment rates. They have greater physical health. They have more responsive governments. So, and stronger schools even. So we're talking about, just by virtue of having civic involvement, just by voting, which is not just a small thing, it's a huge thing. Communities where there are more people that are involved like that, including youth, have a better life to live. They have better quality of life. And so if you want your quality of life to improve in your community from top to bottom, you need to get involved. And it is a need, it is a must. This is something that is so critical that we cannot, as an entire generation, you can't just let the people that are sitting in office right now make all of the decisions for us, because they're not going to be there in the future. You're going to be there in the future, and you deserve a seat at that table, and you need to have a seat at that table. So please, like Crisanta said, encourage your friends to vote. Make a list of at least 10 people, not a lot. Go through your contacts and get 10 people that you can reach out to and remind them to vote, remind them to register to vote, and stay on top of them. And then, you know what? Follow up with them on election day. Give them a ride if you need to. Do whatever you can to make that difference. If every person reaches out to 10 people, that's a huge impact on your community. So it is really critical. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity and for what you guys are putting together, because it's an incredible reminder of the magnitude, the power that your voice can have. So please don't forget about this and get out and vote, and tell your family members and your friends too also.
Awesome. I love that. And Judge Monique Diaz just said get 10 people to vote. So get them out there to vote, and let's make it a party. So Crisanta, do you have anything to add for that question of just like why you believe that young people should get out there?
Definitely, because decisions are being made about young people every single day by people in positions of power. And there have been people, for over a decade now, that have been making decisions about what your future is going to look like, whether, what tuition should be at for colleges, looking at climate change, racial inequities. And so, to me, it's like, people are going to make these decisions one way or another. And so the best thing you can do is make sure that you are at the table, voting for particular candidates. But this election is just one step. It is a step to elect different people into positions of power. However, there needs to be accountability thereafter. And so, once you vote, please do stay involved, letting your elected local and federal and state leaders know how you feel about different things, working to organize in your community, because it really does make a difference. And your life will be impacted for years to come based on who is in positions of power and what issues are made a priority.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you both so much. You're both amazing. And, it's comforting to know that we have people like you in public office making waves, who have our backs. And again, thank you for your time today and helping inspire people, not just to register 10 of your friends, but actually get to the polls on November 3rd and potentially, look into what it takes to go into public office. So thank you both so much. I really appreciate your time, and so does everybody else. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Monica, Laura, and everyone. It was an honor to be here with all of you.
Thank you very much. All right, guys. So everyone, we're going to be taking a short intermission. We've got some exciting segments ahead. Don't close out of the chat. You might miss out on some free stuff. We've got Voto Latino Trivia Game Show coming up. We've got some sickening art from Your Art is Your Voice winners. We've got lots of giveaways and lots of music coming from Emo Night. So don't go anywhere.
Look at how I look at now. Drown all my problems in this bottle full of pain. Pour it down my frame like I am not ashamed. I know I'm not insane, but I tend to lose my brain. I tend to lose myself in the pool full of you. I drown, I'm drowning. I drown, I'm drowning. I drown, I'm drowning. I'm drowning now. My demons play well with all of your angels. They used to call me square, but you fell in love with my angles. And we was tight and never really had to have the bigger circle. I submerged myself into you and promised I never hurt you. I fiend for you, but it seems to me you never fiend for me. I dream of you, but dreams are never what they seem to be. I promised you that I always walk with you through the wilderness. The truth is sweet, but you allow me to swallow your bitterness. And that was hurtful, cause we were flowers that were never nurtured. So we watered ourselves, and love is what grew above the surface. But I think we lost our purpose, thought we were so picture perfect. She said love is way too perfect, told me this was never working. She convinced herself that this was too good to be true. And she said you never loved me, cause you never loved you. I thought you would never leave, and now I'm frowning. You said you couldn't breathe, but yet I'm the one who's drowning. Drown all my problems in this bottle full of pain. Pour it down my frame like I am not ashamed. I know I'm not insane, but I tend to lose my brain. I tend to lose myself in the pool full of you. I drown, I'm drowning. I drown, I'm drowning. I drown, I'm drowning. I'm drowning now. All I wanna do is put on. Yeah. All I wanna do is put on. Yeah. All I wanna do is put on. Yeah. Coming out the barbershop too lit. Pocket full of nickels blowing super draw. Smoother than the Cadillac with cruise control. Doing what I do, you know. Women playing hard to get as I pull up on the boulevard, flossing it like, ain't that boy cold? Ain't that boy cold? On something like a freezer, ain't I? Even when I seem kinda out of season, ain't I? Up to date with it, do your thing, don't play with it. Fade away sweet like Jay did it. Swish. Summertime with a winter breeze. Summer grind on my mind, I don't get to breathe. There you go, hey. Light on up. Put that spice off in my blood. Bro, that's right off in my cup. And we rollin'. Better tell somebody we rollin' on it. We rollin'. like that, roll right now, bounce 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 like that, roll right now. Coming out the crib in my house shoes, I don't even know why they call them house shoes. Should call them corner kicks, cause you're only kicking in them on your corner shit. Cruising through the Ave in my pajama gear, got me feeling so lavender. Out here dodging bull like a matador. Oh, I mean a matador. Got women catching piss like a catheter. It's so crazy. I should've said Kelly. I should've said only in this piece with the belly. I should've said we only carry a piece when they jelly. Get the women in the telly and everybody be mellow. Well, I mean they be mellow. Rolling up sipping jello. Women be saying hello, my homies be screaming yeah. Hey girl, yeah. Where you going, little mama? Hey. Light on up. Put that spice off in my blunt. Roll that Sprite off in my cup. And we rollin'. Better tell somebody we rollin', don't it? We rollin'. Better tell somebody we rollin', don't it? We rollin'. Roll right now, bounce like that. 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 Roll right now. Bam 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 ding dong dong. 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 I ran out of breath. Shout out to Soul Dad, brother. It's good music, good loud. I take my time, flex like whoa. I take my time, jets, let's go. I take my time, flex like whoa. Tell them bye though. I'm on the scene, Billie Jean had to let him know. Put my demons in that cage, then I let him go. Mama told me just to chill, but it's ill still. When that ill will got me turning into Kill Bill. Y'all taking shots, but your aim is funny. I give you the business, like a family came from money. Your change is funny. If you paying rent and don't own real estate, it's time for you to reevaluate and innovate. I broke that door, now I'm speaking at the podium. Ain't broke no more. Campbell soup that's full of sodium, I spoke that all. Just to manifest my destiny, your knowledge is power. I'm about to kill him with the weaponry, that's on God. I've been praying, slaying, saying we take it. Homicidal killers, feelings like we won't ever make it. And when you wake up in the morning, giving thanks to God, that's on God. I've been praying, slaying, saying we take it. Homicidal killers, feelings like we won't ever make it. And when you wake up in the morning, see that's on God. I take my time, flex like whoa. I take my time, jets, let's go. I take my time, flex like whoa. Tell them bye though. I take my time, flex like whoa. I take my time, jets, let's go. I take my time, flex like whoa. Tell them bye though. It's like this though. Now ain't no negativity in my vicinity. They draining all the energy and really ain't a friend of me and really ain't a kin of me. So listen, I'm about to tell them bye though. They killin' with the counters every time I got a rifle. When I see him in the scope, it got me feeling spiteful. I'm taller than the Eiffel, ain't got me feeling spiteful. So tell the homie bye though. Now I don't like the rock jewels, man, I'd rather drop those. Killings on the block, leaving shells, call them tacos. Man, I got them hot flows, treat them like a snot nose, meaning that they sick. See, mentally I skydive, flipping off a high rise. Never with the ghetto, told me that be 9 lives. Shorty, she want 5 fries, hold the salt though and keep the sodium and bite though. Homicides and killings is a feeling that we can't escape. Mama told me pray up on my knees until it penetrate. If you selling drugs, you can flip it into real estate and tell that life bye-bye. I take my time, flex like whoa. I take my time, jets, let's go. I take my time, flex like whoa. Tell them bye though. I I take my time, flex like whoa. I take my time, just let's go. I take my time, flex like whoa, tell them bado. I take my time, flex like whoa. I take my time, just let's go. I take my time, flex like whoa, tell them bado. I take my time, flex like whoa. I take my time, just let's go. I take my time, flex like whoa, tell them bado. Reminisce Reminisce my past is my present, babe. Yeah, I make decisions to glow. Ridiculous flow, potential to glow. You know, I just do that. Consolidate my regions, line it up, put them together. Anyone that ever let me down, forget them forever. My memory's bad. Remember me, thong? My memory's gone. My memory, it limits me home. No tree huggers, cause all the lumber's gone. Niggas knocking on wood. Pass through the hood when it's good and they chopping up wood. Breaking up stems, tilting my brim. With a limp like a pimp, though I'm shaped like a wimp. They put no fear in him, it's just me and the end of my timeline. Flow like a fine wine, smelling like fine pine. Yeah, is this the end or just the beginning? Am I losing or winning? Is this reality or am I pretending? I'm Cain and Abel, I murdered my brother cause I'm able. Murdered myself because my alter ego's so unstable. You get that? If you didn't, just sit back, then crack this six pack. I should be in the gym doing sit-ups, trying to get this six pack. But forget that, where the click at? Where the bras and the cash and the whip sack? Where the bit back? Where the bop, where the bit back? I just did that. Trying to focus on my get back, my get up, my re-up, my rematch. A patch of seeds and Apache debris passing through Indian Springs in Las Vegas, my G. Bumping Nirvana in Nevada. My favorite word is medulla oblongata. Just doing what I gotta. Is this the end or just the beginning? Am I losing or winning? Is this reality or am I pretending? That was poetry, huh?
All right. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Zoomies Don't Ghost the Vote event. And to those of you who are joining us for the first time, you are a bit late, but you know what? That's okay. And thanks for joining the show. I'm Cassidy Priest, a Zoomies District Manager, live and plugged in from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Hey, I am Kate Yob, a Zoomies District Manager, coming to you live out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are so stoked to have you guys tonight. We've got a killer second half of the show ready for you guys. Throughout the show, we're giving away Zoomies stash points, Zoomies gift cards, teas from our stand-up collection from brands such as Accomplice, Key Street Clothing, Obey, as well as some limited edition posters featuring art from the Zoomies and Amplifier, Your Art is Your Voice, Art Call, and more.
All right, so if you're just joining us, or if you haven't been listening as well, today is National Voter Registration Day. So basically, it's a huge national moment to give everyone that last kick in the ass to go get registered to vote before those deadlines start hitting at the beginning of next month. So to find your state's deadlines and to get registered to vote, head on over to zoomies.com/standup, where you can also update your voter registration if you've moved. You can sign up to get election notifications and get your friends registered to vote. You can also head into your local Zoomies to come talk to us to get more information about registering and voting in your area. All right, everyone, so we can see the chat. We know people want that stash code. So if you didn't catch it earlier, here is that stash code. It is Don't Ghost the Vote, all one word. So DONTGHOSTTHEVOTE. So it is also dropping in the chat. So make sure you hit that Zoomies app and redeem the complete code for those major points. And we can also see that people are still wanting some of those Zoomies gift cards or the t-shirts from the stand-up collection and some of those limited edition posters. So once again, hit that chat and tell us what you're standing up for with your vote or with your voice and why. We're going to be picking our favorites and we're going to be announcing the winners at the end of the stream. So make sure you hit that chat and stick around.
Ooh, I cannot wait to see who wins those. So up next, we've got a special edition of our Stand Up and Vote Trivia Game Show, as well as a special art show with artists from Your Art is Your Voice, Open Call, and Amplifier, followed by live music from everybody's favorite, Emo Night. All right, so time for our trivia game show. But first, during the quick break, we've got a video message from one of the founders of Voto Latino, Rosario Dawson. So let's go ahead and see what she stands up for.
Hey y'all, it's Rosario Dawson with Voto Latino, and I'm here with Zoomies for their Stand Up and Vote campaign, asking you, please don't ghost the vote. If you didn't know, today is National Voter Registration Day. It is the country's largest single-day effort to register voters, and Voto Latino helped to co-found it. I'm here to give you a little more info on why it's important to vote and how you can make a difference in this year's upcoming election. I co-founded Voto Latino 16 years ago with the goal of empowering young people like you to recognize their political power. Today, we are the nation's largest Latinx voter registration organization, and our goal is to register 1 million voters by Election Day. There are 32 million eligible Latino voters in the U.S., making our community the second largest voting bloc and the largest ethnic group in the electorate for the first time ever. We have the power to be the change. Getting registered to vote is the first step to making your voices heard about issues you care about and that impact your life and future. Make your voice heard by visiting zoomies.com/standup or votolatino.org to get registered. It literally only takes a few moments. And don't just stop there. Tell your parents, your cousins, all your friends to do the same. We are en la lucha together. Thank you for doing your part. Te quiero.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Don't Ghost the Vote edition of the Stand Up and Vote Trivia Game Show, a game show about the issues that matter and how our vote impacts them, hosted by Zoomies and Voto Latino. I'm Camille from Voto Latino, coming to you live from Texas.
And I'm Danny, also from Voto Latino, coming to you from Washington, D.C. We're excited to be hosting today and stoked to be partnering with Zoomies again this year to continue to inspire and activate our community to stand up and vote for the issues that matter to you in this election.
We have 2 special guest contestants who will be joining us to compete. Today, we're going Jeopardy style. We'll have 5 categories with 5 questions each. Today's categories will include US presidents, voting, the United States, climate change and the environment, and a special 2020 wildcard category. For every question our contestants answer correctly today, that's 20 chances. You all will win a boatload of Zoomy stash points. Each contestant will have 2 lifelines to ask you all for help if they run into trouble. Hit the chat to help out when the time comes.
We're stoked for this edition of the show. We'll be giving away Zoomies gift cards. For a chance to win a gift card, tell us what you're standing up for and voting for and why in the chat. We'll pick 5 winners from all the chat submissions. After the show, we'll announce who's all walking away with those Zoomies gift cards. And before we jump in, let's get real for a second. Many of us are probably going to be voting by mail this November. So do yourself a favor and request your absentee ballot today. Don't wait until the last minute. Go to votolatino.org/vote-by-mail to request your absentee ballot now. Again, that URL is votolatino.org/vote-by-mail to request your absentee ballot. 34 states allow you to request an absentee ballot without an excuse. Let's be honest though, a raging global pandemic should be enough of an excuse for all of us to vote by mail. So request your ballot today, fill it out early, mail it back early to be sure your vote is counted. And if you're already not registered to vote, don't wait. Head over to zoomies.com/standup or votolatino.org right now to get registered.
Speaking of being counted, if you or your household haven't already filled out the census, you still have time to be counted. That deadline is September 30th of this month, so next Wednesday. Go to 2020census.gov. It literally takes less than 5 minutes to fill out. The census is super important. When you get counted in the census, you help your community get its fair share of more than $675 billion per year in federal funds. These federal funds are spent on schools, hospitals, roads, public work, and other vital programs. Businesses use census data also to decide where to build factories, offices, and stores, and this creates jobs. You know, despite what you may have heard also, there's no citizenship question on the 2020 census. So if you are a person living in the US right now, be sure that you're counted. If you're under 18 or live with your family, ask your parents or whoever you live with if they filled it out, and if they haven't yet, tell them they need to do it by next Wednesday, September 30th, and let them know why it's so important. All right, with all that being said, let's jump in and welcome our contestants.
Our first contestant is a return competitor, Jackson, founder of Key Street Clothing. Welcome back, Jackson. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So are you coming to us straight from New Zealand again?
Yeah, it is a beautiful spring day here in New Zealand. It's currently just gone noon. So yeah, it's good. This is a good time. Last time I had to wake up at like 4:30 a.m. So this is much better. Thank you.
But you're still coming to us from the future, which is cool.
Yes, it is tomorrow. And tomorrow is a better day.
Good to know. Thank you.
Amazing. Our second contestant is Laura Semenzi from Zoomies. Thank you so much for joining us, Laura.
Yeah, thank you.
Where are you joining us from?
I'm from the Chicago area.
Awesome. Well, before we get going, I'd love to ask you both a question. Laura, if you want to tackle it first, that would be dope. Why is voting important to you at both the local and national level?
I think there's a lot of reasons. I think a base level answer is it's a way to have your voice heard and stand up for the things that you believe in. From a local level, that's where things start. It's directly impacting your community. And so voting at a local level is incredibly important. And then at a national level, kind of the same answer, but it's affecting everyone. So.
Totally. What about for you, Jackson?
Obviously the local level is really important, and it's something that we sort of skip over and all the hype and everything that goes around the big vote, like there's only one person we're voting for. But you know, that you have somebody in your community that understands your community's needs and will go to fight for you guys. Hopefully, you know, that's what you want, someone who's got your back when it goes to going to the places above them to get things like federal funding and pushing in laws and protections and understanding things that are directly affecting your particular neighborhood. You know, if you live in a rural area or in a coastal area, things like that, you really need to have somebody who's representing you properly at that level. And then obviously at the big presidential leadership level, it's really, really important, because then you get the trickle down of having strong leadership that will listen to those people.
Totally. All right, well, let's dig into the Jeopardy show. So today it's Jeopardy style, as we mentioned. Laura, since you're the first contestant, you get to pick the first question. And also, I do want to stress, since it's Jeopardy style, you get to keep going until you get one wrong. Then it'll switch over to Jackson. Don't forget, you two both have two chances to be exact, to use a lifeline to ask the audience for help. To our audience, remember, for every question our contestants answer correctly, we'll drop a code in the chat for you to redeem Zoomies stash points. Danny and I will alternate reading questions out, providing the answer and more info on each question. With that being said, Laura, are you ready?
I think so.
Amazing. So here are the 5 categories again, and it's Jeopardy style, so you can select questions for 50 points all the way up to 500 points.
Yeah.
The categories are presidents, climate change, United States, voting, and 2020 wildcard.
Let's start with 2020 wildcard for 50.
Amazing. All right, 2020 wildcard for 50 points. What is the name of the popular Netflix series that stars Joe Exotic?
What is Tiger King?
You are correct.
Whew. All right, it's a good start.
All right, Laura, since you got that one right, it is your turn to pick a category once again.
Oh, let's just keep going. We'll go with whatever the next point value is.
Okay.
In 2020 wildcard.
2020 wildcard for 100 points. What popular social media app was just banned in the United States?
Oh, was it TikTok?
It was TikTok. The U.S. Commerce Department said Friday it would ban Chinese-owned TikTok and WeChat from U.S. app stores beginning on last Sunday. The Trump administration says that national security and data privacy concerns justify the ban.
Oof. Okay, let's keep going.
All right, 2020 wildcard for 200 points. Which well-known rap artist performer announced his presidential campaign through Twitter on July 4th, 2020? The slogan was #2020vision.
Was it Kanye West?
That's correct.
All right.
Just gonna get a down trial. In New Zealand, when you play pool with somebody and they beat you and you don't even get to have a shot, it's called a down trial. You have to pull your pants down and walk around the table.
Okay, well, if you're willing to do that, when Laura we'll cross that bridge when we
that's
get
safe for Twitch. It's not safe for Twitch. Up the adult rating on it.
Laura, are you feeling the same category?
Yeah, this is about the only place I'm going to get points. So let's keep going.
Okay. So 2020 wildcard for 300 points. Saved by the Bell has recently confirmed a reboot, but can you name 2 of the original cast members?
The characters or the actors?
The characters.
Oh, Slater and Kelly Kapowski.
That's right.
Dang. All right, are we gonna do 500 points?
Yeah, get it.
All right, so 2020 wildcard, 500 points. I don't even know how to read this question.
I was about to say, I'm glad I don't have to.
Danny, would you like to give it a stab? I literally am stumped.
No, you got it.
All right, which entrepreneur named their child?
Oh, yeah.
You don't even need to say it. She knows exactly what.
Was it Elon Musk?
Stash points, that is correct. Thank you guys. Thank you. I may give it away, but all is fair in stash points.
Sorry, in fairness, as a competitor, I would like you to read the question in its full. Thank you for context. It's all right. I won't do that to you. I'm only kidding.
All right. So Laura, it is still your turn, but you have totally emptied out the 2020 wildcard category. So your remaining categories are presidents, climate change and the environment, United States, and voting.
Let's go voting.
Voting. Our favorite at Vote Latino.
For 50.
And for what points? 50?
50.
Okay. When is the last day that you can vote in the 2020 presidential election coming up on November 3rd?
When is the last day you can vote?
When's the last day you can vote? Yes.
November 3rd?
Yeah, I gave that one away. I'm always in communicator mode, so I'm always trying to get people the information. That's my fault.
I love it. I love it. That's just 50 more points for me.
Yeah. And congratulations to everyone in the chat for getting a code off of me.
All right,
Can I just point out, Laura, I don't know if you know this. The shirt behind you, above your left ear, with the little car on it, yeah, that's a Key Street shirt. That I drew that one. You can. I'm happy that you. Do I have it? Oh, I do. I've even got one here. Look, that's it. That's the one there. Little Zoomies tag on. I'm happy that you got that there. Thank you for representing me in your wall of beautiful t-shirts.
Hey, I sat here for a reason.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. Thank you.
That's awesome. Laura, would you like to proceed voting for 100 points?
Yes, especially if Danny's going to keep giving me the answer.
All right. Well, I
we'll
can't
see what happens.
Let's see. Yeah. All right. Voting for 100 points. What day of the week does the National Election Day always fall on?
Tuesday?
That is correct.
Whoa!
That was amazing. That was a guess, eh? Was that a guess?
Everyone knows you vote. The last day to vote, election day, is Tuesday, November 3rd. I hope that's like saved on your phone, written down, memorized in your head. But yeah, Tuesday, November 3rd.
Yes.
Okay. Where are we going now?
Let's just keep it rolling. 200 or 300 or whatever my next point value is.
Okay. So voting, let's see, for 200. The reason we vote on Tuesday in early November is to ensure that farmers can vote. True or false?
Is to ensure that farmers can vote.
Mm-hmm.
False?
The answer is true. In 1845, Congress passed the federal law designating Election Day. Back then, many Americans were farmers who lived far from the polling places, and it was thought that they wouldn't be willing to interrupt harvest season to travel to the polls. So Tuesday was selected so farmers wouldn't have to travel on the Sabbath or miss market days, often on a Wednesday.
That's excellent.
So welcome to the game show, Jackson. It is now your turn.
All right. I'm happy to be back in it. I thought it was going to become statistically impossible for me to win. She was on such a good roll. That was great. I just realized how I got a little bit sunburned today. That's great. Awesome. Hi, world. Here I am with sunburn on my face.
You look great.
Let's do this.
You look
We're happy to have you. What category would you like to give a stab at? We have US presidents, climate change and the environment, the US, and we have 2 questions left in the voting block.
Let's go to climate change, because that's a good subject, isn't it? I like that
Awesome.
one. Let's see how we go. For 50, please. Let's start it off easy and see if we can smash through.
All right. Climate change for 50 points. This is a true or false question, so you have 50% chance to get it right. Voting is one of the most impactful actions you can take to fight climate change. Is this true or false?
I'm going to say true.
You are absolutely correct.
All right, that's good. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? You vote for the person who's literally in charge of everybody else's impact, really, when they can pass laws and stuff.
Yeah, totally. Our last game show we did on Twitch was on climate change, and I like learned so much hosting it. The results of elections, determine how Americans and their leaders grapple with climate change and the issue that's at hand right now. So everyone, if you're unsure of what you're voting for and you care about the environment, consider voting for, climate change.
Awesome. Jackson, it is still your turn.
Let's keep it going, man. Climate change for 100, Alex.
All right. True or false? It takes a styrofoam cup 500 years to completely decompose.
No, I'm going to say true because it's one of those ones there. Yep, true.
Unfortunately, that is correct.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I won it, but oh dear. No more big gulps.
No. Got to get rid of those single-use plastics and styrofoams.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right.
So yeah, keep it going. Climate change, 200.
All right. What is the name of the environmental deal introduced by AOC and Senator Markey to tackle climate change?
It's called the Green New Deal.
That is correct. More stash points for everyone. The goal of the Green New Deal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in order to avoid what consequences climate change can bring. Yeah.
Sorry, I just realized I'm supposed to be answering in the form of a question. What is the Green New Deal? All right, but yeah, cool. That's good.
Cool. So you're staying here?
Yes, please. Let's go to, what is it, 300 now, right?
300.
They're getting tricky.
Roughly how many countries have formally approved and joined the Paris Climate Agreement?
Oh no, this is a really hard question. Hey Siri, how many countries? Let's say 73.
73 is not correct.
Ah, damn it. You had me go for a minute.
The correct answer is 179.
Oh, I had the 70 in there.
Yeah, there was a connection there, but not enough.
I needed a multiple choice for that. That's a tricky question, but hey, that's good.
Yeah, the only major emitting countries that have not joined the agreement are Russia, Turkey, and Iran. And the United States is set to formally withdraw on November 4th of this year, day after Election Day. If you care about climate change, make sure you vote.
What an awesome group of people like we're moving to being a part of. Here's the rest of the world, and then this list that you really want to be a part of.
I wanted to give you a hint and say, like, think of how many countries there are minus like 5.
Yeah. Never mind. Well, I threw it. Back to you, Laura.
Well, it's probably going to come back to you pretty quickly. So, but we'll keep going with climate change.
All right. So we have climate change for 500 points left, if you want to take that.
Sure, let's go for it.
Awesome. All right, so we'd love for you to name one American city that gets a majority of their electricity from renewable energy sources like wind and solar resources. Able to give you a hint if you'd like.
I didn't get a hint. No hints.
Wait, can I use a lifeline?
Oh my God, yeah, of course. Let's use a lifeline.
Oh yeah. Damn it. You're a genius.
All right, we're opening it up to the floor. I'll read it out again. We'd love your help with naming one American city that gets a majority of their electricity from renewable energy sources like wind and solar.
Help me out.
Drop the name of the city in the chat and let's give Laura some help.
I've seen a couple people say Portland.
One of the answers in the chat is Mexico, which is not a city.
I saw that. Also Ohio. So let's go Portland. I had at least 2 people that seemed confident about that.
All right. Well, that's unfortunately incorrect.
No.
The Oregon city we have on the list is Eugene, not Portland.
A couple people in the chat got it right. Burlington, Vermont, Eugene, Oregon, Aspen, Colorado, and Greensburg, Kansas.
Damn. Okay. Well, thanks anyways, guys.
Jackson, it is back to you. You have some
Yes.
ground to make up.
All right, let's go to USA for 50 points, please.
Okay. What are the 3 branches of the United States federal government?
You know what? This was part of my citizenship question. This is one of the questions I had to answer. There's oh my god. All right, the House, the Senate. Oh, damn it.
You can also use a lifeline if you'd like.
I know, because I studied this. Like, I actually should know it. I know that there's like, but then there's like the White House, the executive branch. You know what? I'm just gonna let's make it a competition. I'm not gonna throw it out there. Let's go. The House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court.
That is not correct.
No, I forgot the whole White House part I left out of it. Or the president just shouldn't even factor in.
Well, no, the White House is part of one of the branches. The 3 branches are the legislative, the executive, the judicial. So the House and the Senate are part of
test.
The House and the Senate are part of the legislative. The White House and the president are part of the executive. The Supreme Court's part of the judicial.
That's it. Well done. Well done.
The couch is saying that we're giving you half credit on that one.
Oh, that's nice.
So there you go.
I tried. All right, back over to you, Laura. Make me proud.
Oh boy, no pressure. So we have US, we have presidents, right?
We've got US presidents and voting.
Oh, we still have voting.
We have two more questions in voting. We have 4 in US, and presidents is untouched.
All right, let's go back to voting. Let's go to 400 for voting. Right, 400?
300.
Voting for 300. Yeah. All right, this is a true or false question. Men vote more than women.
False.
That's correct. According to the US Census Bureau, voter turnout has been higher for women in every presidential election since 1980.
Ooh. Getting it done. All right, awesome. We'll go with the last, whatever the last one is.
Voting for 500. Who technically elects the president of the United States?
Oh, is it the Electoral College?
It is the Electoral College. That is correct.
All right.
Well done. Well done.
Thanks.
So let's do a quick lifeline check. How many? I think Laura's used 1, and Jackson, I believe you still have both.
Yeah, I'm saving them up for my run at the finish line.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's more of a sprint. Laura, it is still your turn. Your categories are presidents and United States.
Oof. Let's do presidents. I don't know a ton, but let's give it a shot.
Presidents for 50?
50.
Okay. How many presidents has the United States had so far, including our current one?
40, what is 45?
45 is correct.
Damn it, I knew that one too. That was good. Well done.
I almost said 44, so it was almost back to you.
I was hoping that you were gonna throw that one.
I almost panicked.
Trivia question for the audience and for you guys as well. How many individuals have held the presidency out of those 45 presidents?
Huh. Like held it as in weren't kicked out of office?
No. The answer is 44. Grover Cleveland was elected to 2 non-consecutive terms, so he's considered both the 22nd and the 24th president of the United States.
Ah, that's a good.
So 45 presidents with 44 people.
Cool.
Definitely didn't think about that in the right way.
I didn't either. I was
Yeah.
just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Would you like to carry on 100 points presidents?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Name any 2 first ladies of the United States.
Any 2 first ladies? Michelle Obama and Laura Bush.
There you go. Awesome.
Let's we'll stick with it.
All right. Who was the first president to ever be impeached? Extra points if you know the year.
It was Johnson, but I don't know.
Do we have a first name?
Oh, I just know that it was not.
It's okay if you don't. I just want to test you.
First Johnson.
Okay. She has to know the full name of the president, please, including his middle initial.
Oh, I don't even know his middle initial. It was Andrew Johnson. That's correct.
Johnson.
I was trying to throw her, saying it was Lyndon B. Johnson, and she would get it wrong.
I definitely don't know the year.
It was Andrew Johnson in 1868.
Got it.
What did he do?
So the impeachment of President Andrew Johnson was the result of political conflict and the rupture of ideologies in the aftermath of the American Civil War. Johnson breached the Tenure of Office Act by removing Edwin Stanton, the Secretary of War, from the cabinet. The Tenure of Office Act stated that a president could not dismiss appointed officials without the consent of Congress. However, the Senate voted to acquit President Johnson, and he was not removed from office. There you go.
The more you know. Can we have, hey, tech support, can we get the little star to fly across the screen, please, and say the more you know? Beautiful. Just imagine it's flying over there. You're learning things too. This is good.
And the
thank you for that.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you, Danny.
Of course. That's why we're here.
All right, Laura, 300 presidents. Smash it.
Sure.
Get it, girl.
Who was the oldest elected president of the United States?
Let's go with the other Johnson. Let's go Lyndon B. Johnson. I have no idea.
All good. That's incorrect, unfortunately. It's actually Donald Trump. The youngest president ever elected was John F. Kennedy. He was only 43 years old at his inauguration. The oldest person to assume presidency, like I said, was Donald Trump. He was 70 years old, 70 years, 220 days old, apologies, on inauguration day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Clearly.
So Jackson, it is your turn. You are welcome to take the last question in our presidents category.
I need to make up some points, so let's do it. Presidents for 500.
All right. True or false? George W. Bush was the head cheerleader in high school.
Oh man, I mean, he went to school well, he's from Texas, right?
He's from Connecticut.
So,
he was governor of Texas.
Ah, okay. Well, then that's completely wrong. So maybe I'd be wrong. And I'm just going to say, yeah, sure. Sure, yes, he was head cheerleader. Or he was at least a cheerleader.
He was absolutely the head cheerleader of his high school.
Well, that's awesome. Good for him. I had no idea.
You got that one right. Close the gap.
Awesome. I'm going to write that one down. That's going to make a great t-shirt design there. All right, so what do we got? USA for 100, please.
All right, you got it. True or false? In Louisiana, it's illegal to send a surprise pizza.
Okay. Sure, yeah. Because it's not an unsolicited pizza sliding in through your front door. I don't think that that's a very nice thing to do to somebody if they have to then pay for it. Yes, I'd say that that's true.
It is true. That is correct. You could be fined $500 for sending a pizza delivery to someone's house without their permission. Which is really funny.
Who's on the pizza?
The question is who gets the pizza? All right, Jackson.
So you're trying to do something nice for somebody, eh? Hey guys, eat some pizza.
Yeah.
How dare
Random
you?
act of niceness turns into a ticket.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
All right, what do you got?
In
200,
this category? 200, we're just going straight through? All right.
Yeah.
How many amendments are there to the United States Constitution?
Oh,
This was also probably on a citizenship question.
it was. It totally was. 20. Man. 27?
27 is exactly correct.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Redemption. Redemption. Just so everybody knows, I did pass my citizenship test when I took it. But obviously, these questions have slipped my mind since I did that. But, okay. 27
You're all
amendments.
good.
All right. What is the 27th amendment?
That's on you.
I have no idea. Okay. What do we got? 300 now. Let's do it.
All right. Which U.S. founding father does Lin-Manuel Miranda star in his hit musical?
Ah, Hamilton.
That is correct.
Alexander Hamilton. I did watch it. I watched the Disney Plus one. It's great. I really enjoyed it.
Everyone gets on me because I have not seen it yet.
Oh, you should. It's good.
I also
Which is really funny.
Oh no, Camille. Oh, here, the couch
In
just
the room where it
supplied me
happened,
with
in
an
the room
answer.
where it happened,
The
the room
27th
where it
Amendment says that no law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. So Congress cannot give themselves a pay raise without winning re-election first, which is a pretty
Wish it
good.
said something about Supreme Court nominees. That'd be nice. All right.
Yeah,
United
let's get
States
spicy
for
in here.
500. Let's
All
go.
right. This is the last question of the night. What is the first line from
Hold
the
on,
classic?
hold on. Sorry. I'm going to stop you. Before you ask the question, that was very rude, but I'm sorry. Can I still win this? Do I have a chance? Who's keeping tab of the scores? I have no idea what
Let's
the
see,
score
Couch,
is.
can we get an answer?
Am I able to win it? No.
It looks like you're not. You are
Looks like
mathematically
yes.
eliminated, but
Well, it's okay.
We're still going to give
Yeah.
you the question in the spirit of good fun.
Well, thank you. Let's
This
do
is
this.
not
Let's
on a
finish on a
citizen.
high.
This is not on a citizenship test, by the way.
Okay.
What is the first line from the classic Woody Guthrie song About America? And I'll give you a hint. It's about land.
Is it is this land is your land, this land is my land? Is it that one?
That's exactly it.
Yeah. All right, cool. I was worried it was going to be with that one that's like, I'm proud to be an American because at least I know I'm free. That's one of my
You know the lines to all the Americans.
They actually played that song, I believe it's that song, at the citizenship ceremony.
Yeah.
There's like a music video and everything. It's great.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that is all of our questions, folks. Thank you to Jackson. Thank you to Laura for playing. Congratulations, Laura, for winning the
Well
Don't
done,
Ghost
Laura.
the Vote edition of our Stand Up and Vote trivia show. And thanks to our audience for your help and for tuning in.
All
Well done,
right.
Laura.
Now we'd like to announce our gift card winners. Congratulations to the following 5 usernames. Couch will DM you. Mayday Luru, Gatendo, False Fiability, Ramres25, and Scream for the Devil. Congrats, y'all. Hope you enjoy your gift cards. All right, well,
I
thank
didn't
you
even
all
use my
so much
lifelines.
for tuning in today. I want to thank Jackson from Key Street Clothing and Laura from Zoomies for joining us. Do either of you have any last words for our audience?
Go fucking vote. That's all I got. Make sure you're registered. Make sure you request your absentee ballot and get out there and fucking vote.
Yeah, I second that. Get out there and vote. And when you're in a game show playing against somebody and you have 2 lifelines, you should use them, perhaps. If that opportunity comes up again, I think I totally forgot. But yeah, in the meantime, fucking vote, please. God, it's insane watching this stuff on TV every day. It's insane living this stuff every single day, seeing the destruction and the fires and people dying without even being acknowledged. It's disgusting. Please, please, we have to fix this. It's up to us.
For sure. We hope that you all learned a thing or two today, whether it be about the president's climate change in the US, what's happening this year in 2020. We do want to stress that our votes can really make a difference on the issues that matter to us. Again, if you haven't filled out the census yet, the deadline to do so is next Wednesday, September 30th. Visit 2020census.gov to complete it, to be counted, and to bring critical federal money to your community. We're living in an extremely important year. We need to register to vote and actually show up at the polls. Let's make sure that we all do our part, that we educate our peers and family members, and that we demand for our voices to be heard. This is really how we create change. Keep listening and keep learning.
So if y'all are ready to see some art, up next we have the artist whose work won over the curators of our Your Art is Your Voice open call for art, plus Cleo Bennett, all-around badass and the executive director of Amplify. Enjoy, guys. Thanks.
I hear your eyes and I see those cries. I hear those eyes and I see those cries. I can't be the only one who hears you. Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in the room. Fears, tell me fears, don't get me started. I get a little gray hair for every scare you share. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in my
Stupid amounts, ayy. Hop in a whip and I'm out. I need so much I can't count. Oh, and I don't need no college, cause I'm getting stupid amounts, ayy. Hop in a whip and I'm out. I need so much I can't count. Oh, and I don't need no college, cause I'm getting stupid amounts, ayy. Hop in a whip and I'm out. I need so much I can't count. Oh, and I don't need no college, cause I'm getting stupid amounts, ayy.
I'm making stupid amounts. The shit is annoying to count. I hired a dude just to count. And he don't make no mistakes, yeah. I live my life, had a suitcase, yeah. Smoking on a bouquet. I get no fucks what you say. I get no fucks what you think. Yeah, I'm making stupid amounts. Build the shit up from the ground. I'm blowing down on a pound. Why would I ever come down? This bitch been chasing me round. Really don't matter the town. Flew him out, 2 at a time. Yeah, I got room in the house. I got a lesbian bitch out in Texas State. Fuck it, maybe they straight. Cause that head was great.
Oh, that hair was great, but that ass was fake. Little bitch, she went to college, so I could tell by the brain. They said I'm getting too vain. I think I'm hitting a vein. I put that home in a lift, then I got back on a plane. Ooh, hop in a whip and I'm out. I need so much I can't count. Oh, and I don't need no college, cause I'm getting stupid amounts. Ayy, hop in a whip and I'm out. I need so much I can't count. Oh, and I don't need no college, cause I'm getting stupid amounts. Ayy. Told my girl to pipe down, need it right now. Lately I've been going till the lights out. Got my face up and my eyes down. Shawty, now you know what this is like now. Now I got a big drop top and I'm rolling. And I told my girl I'ma be up till the morning. Feeling like I'm 2-3 cause you know I'm zoning. Shawty got a wave, we been chilling by the ocean. Now I got a big drop top and I'm rolling. And I told my girl I'ma be up till the morning. Feeling like I'm 2-3 cause you know I'm zoning. Shawty got a wave, we been chilling by the
being misses. I've been so ahead, I don't think y'all really get it. They been taking L's, they can see how I've been winning. And I got a drip, so they see me making waves. They don't even see how many chances I done gave. I've been working hard, dog, I think I need a raise. Said I couldn't do it, but I told my girl to pipe down. Need it right now. Lately I've been going till the lights out. Got my face up and my eyes down. Shorty, now you know what this is like now. Now I got a big drop top and I'm rolling. And I told my girl I'ma be up till the morning. Feeling like I'm 2-3 cause you know I'm zoning. Shorty got a wave, we been chilling by the ocean. Now I got a big drop top and I'm rolling. And I told my girl I'ma be up till the morning. Feeling like I'm 2-3 cause you know I'm zoning. Shorty got a wave, we been chilling by the ocean.
Yeah. I've been buying 40 once I heard the 36. I can tell 100 stacks by eye, I'm a mathematician. Just when many plays up from my dealer, I get commission. Walking, I got my bitches on display like exhibition. If a Wi-Fi.
Hey everybody, welcome. Thanks so much for being here tonight. My name is Cleo and I'm the Executive Director of Amplifier. So some of you might have seen Amplifier over the last year. We've been popping up in Zoom stores all across North America. And we are a design lab that builds media experiments to amplify the most important movements of our times. And so we work with an amazing community of artists, some of which you're going to be meeting later tonight, as well as educators and movement leaders to build symbols and language and then distribution strategies to bring this artwork into public spaces all across the country in order to shift culture nationally. We really believe that at the core of culture, art is at the core of culture. And in order to shift public policy, we first have to shift the consciousness of the people. You know, we can't really change the way that people vote or that people participate until we start changing the way that culture impacts the way people want to participate. And so we really focused on bringing messages out into public spaces in order to shift the hearts and minds of the people. So that's where we start. We create art and we bring that artwork into public spaces. And our goal is really to reclaim an American identity, which is rooted in equality, dignity, diversity, truth, and beauty. And so at Amplifier, we believe that each piece of art that we create and distribute with our community is really a compass that leads away from the chaos and negativity of this polarizing time and points towards the future we all want to live in. And so we've been really lucky over the last year. My team and I have been working with Zoomies, and we've been meeting some of you all at these amazing events. And now we're working with you all digitally. And right now our focus is really the Stand Up and Vote campaign. So we just wrapped up the Stand Up and Vote Your Art is Your Voice open call. It's been going for the last few weeks. We had thousands of art submissions from all across the country, and we narrowed that down to a few incredible artworks, and you're going to be hearing from some of the artists in a few minutes. We've just been so blown away by all the submissions. Y'all are a talented group of people, that's for sure. And so for all the artists that have created and shared and submitted your work, thank you so much. Your voice really means something, and I'm so grateful that you all are taking the time to share your work with your communities. This is undoubtedly the most important election of our lifetime, and it's through the creation and distribution of powerful pieces of artwork. We have already begun to engage our communities and remind us all of our power and reconnect us to the issues and movements that our vote really impacts. So just remember that your vote isn't just about you, it's about your neighbor, it's about standing up for those who can't vote, and it's about being an active participant in our future. So I'm really excited to be here tonight digitally with a really rad group of artists that are located all across the country. Their submissions have been selected to be featured in a national campaign that I'm going to be help curating. We're going to be doing large scale projections all across the country. And we're also going to be having this artwork in every single Zoomies location, so you all can come and check it out in person. And so these are going to be projected on the Vote Early Day, which is October 24th. And I'd love to share with you all a recent campaign that we did so you can get some flavor for what we're about to do with this artwork. So what did y'all think of that? Definitely leave a comment to tell us what you think. And I'd love to see where you all are from and where you want artwork projected, because we'd love to come to your community and share this art. So now I'd like to welcome some very special guests. Tonight we have with us Jessica Thornton, Jenny Jenkins, and Chris Mays. These are the super talented artists who I highly recommend you all should go follow right now. They've been using their creative talents to advocate and stand up for the issues that matter most to them. So thank you all for joining us. We're so happy to have you here. And I'd love to get started with Jessica. I'd love to know what inspires you to create the art that you make. I know that Jessica and Jenny, you both have a huge environmental and social justice issues that inspire your practice. So how do those issues serve to inspire what you create? Jessica, yeah, start with you.
Thanks, first of all, so much for having me. I'm calling in from Anchorage, Alaska, so super excited to be here. I think, social and environmental justice issues are at the very heart of all of the work that I do. I'm an artist, but I'm also a community organizer. So I've been organizing with and working with Defend the Sacred Alaska for many years now, and that was really like uplifting. The work being done to protect the Arctic refuge was really at the heart of the artwork that I submitted. And I also work as Arts and Action Coordinator for Native Movement. So I'm always working in the intersections of like art and action and social and environmental justice movements, and definitely passionate about the role that art plays in these spaces.
Aw, thank you for sharing. I'm glad that we got connected to you as an artist through this open call, because your artwork really resonated with our team. Yeah, how about you, Jenny? Love to hear about your practice.
Sure, I kind of echo a lot. It's so cool that kind of seeing Jessie from across the country kind of echoing in like the kind of work that I do. I too kind of merge art with my social activism, and all of my artwork that I create is inspired by kind of, I like to say just, like the isms, like the racism, classism, sexism, and of course, like kind of the darker sides of capitalism and the way that they kind of destroy our environment and our people in different ways. So yeah, my work is really rooted in, it just comes straight from the heart. Like I call it art in response. Like something happens that's going on in the world, and I just automatically have this urgency to create something. And whether or not it's my anger that I want to express, or my frustrations, or joy that I feel from something good that happens, that's just kind of the way that I look at it. So all of my art is just, inspired by social issues, but yeah, hopefully it inspires hope and change, and can connect people and kind of bridge gaps. So that's where I'm at.
Well, thanks, Jenny. And where are you? I'm so curious.
I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm sorry, I should have said that. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, and I'm in Los Angeles too, for those who don't know. All right, so Chris, what about you? Where are you based right now, and what inspires your art practice?
I'm in San Diego, California.
So okay, nice.
Nice out here. First of all, thank you for having us. This has been really cool and informative. I've been enjoying every minute of it. I am inspired by various parts of my life, like my peers in both the illustration and design fields, my family, pop culture, and most recently with both my values and beliefs, with many of the social issues that we as a country are currently facing, especially this year, and it's been a hell of a year. I've been galvanized to create art that I hope inspires people into taking action. So this year, like most of us and most of everybody watching, I've been really angry and disappointed with the way things have been running in the country. So I was taught at an early age that if you're angry or emotional, take it out on the page, draw how you feel, and sometimes something great stems from that. And thus, my goal is to have a voice and do my best to help create change with my work. And if you can actually help create change, wouldn't you want to be a part of that too? So if our art can inspire at least one person to kind of stop and reflect on current issues, and then better yet, do something about it, it just shows how powerful and moving that our work can be.
Oh, thank you, Chris. That's really inspiring. And so my next question is for all of you, but we'll start with Jessica again. How do you think art serves as a way to give a voice to the voiceless? And do you think it can inspire people to action or change their perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. I really do believe that art is a powerful tool that we can use to like illustrate the world that we're fighting for, to show people like why we're doing this, the work that we do, to get people hopefully inspired to take action themselves. And even more so, like a lot of my artwork is also focused on the fact that, you know, art itself can bring comfort and healing, and most importantly, joy to people who are doing the challenging work on the front lines for environmental and social justice. So I definitely think there's a reason why art has always played a core role in social justice movements.
Yeah, for sure. And I do feel like too, there's probably a reason why art is so systematically taken out of public education and really made so inaccessible. So I'm always grateful for the artists that are choosing the path of being an artist, because I know that it's not easy. Jenny, what about you? Like what inspires you to really make this art? And do you think that it can give a voice to the voiceless and change people's consciousness?
I absolutely think that art has the ability to kind of bring perspective and change perspective. I think that it allows a viewer who's viewing the artwork might not have thought of the issue that is being represented in that way, and it might make them think and might make them change their mind about something that they didn't agree with before. It can also be a motivator it can also allow for people who don't actually speak up, who don't feel comfortable, who feel scared of that kind of public outcry. They're not really comfortable with that. Artists have the ability to translate that, and it can reach to those people and kind of allow for them to feel like, oh, okay, I'm not alone in the world. Other people feel the same way that I feel. Yeah. So I think it can also it can foster more action in communities. So like by seeing like poster art around a community, I know from my neighborhood, since George Floyd was murdered, the entire neighborhood is plastered. Where I live is plastered with Black Lives Matter signs. And it makes me feel so like, okay, I'm in the right place and these are my people and we need to keep moving forward and justice might come. So it gives me hope seeing other people's art. So when I create art, I hope I do the same thing, and I hope I give other people a voice.
Yeah, it's like that daily reminder. And that's what's so powerful about putting artwork out into public space, because every single day you're going to walk past that wall and maybe you'll be thinking about something else or kind of like forget about something. And then it's just right there in your face, which, yeah, that's so powerful. Chris, what about you?
For as long as art has been around, from like the prehistoric mankind with all their cave paintings all the way up until now, art is the ultimate form of expression. Art transcends language. It has a way of making people understand and feel things that they verbally cannot.
Yeah.
If one is not comfortable with speaking in front of others, like Jenny mentioned, art can be their voice. when it comes to social and political issues, art can be extremely powerful. And if you look throughout history, it is certainly proven. So take propaganda or war posters, for example. They influence the attitudes of a community towards certain causes, both good and bad. Finally, art encapsulates ideas and points of views, both visually and easily. And the best thing is that it can mean something different to everyone.
Yeah, I love that. I read somewhere that art like meets the viewer where they are. So you can have a conversation with someone about like gun violence prevention or something, and they'll just completely shut off because you're on such different perspectives. But if you have an artwork, it's able to communicate with its viewer where the viewer is, which I feel like is really powerful. No other medium has that. Another thing too is like, because we're in the, like always we have to justify, well, how do you know it's effective? How do you know it works? And it's so hard to quantify shifting people's hearts and minds. And one thing, we recently started an education program where we ship free artwork to classrooms all across the country. We did a survey with our educators, and 70% of educators who took our survey said that bullying was decreased in their classroom after our artwork was on their walls. And so like thinking more about like, what is bullying? It's like racism, it's sexism, it's homophobia. So that it's so powerful, like starting to kind of do some metrics around this, because we definitely know just from our interactions with people that it makes a difference, but it can be hard to quantify sometimes. So I only have one final question left because we're running out of time here. But I was just wondering, Chris, we'll start with you. What is one action that you're hoping to inspire with the Stand Up campaign around voting in this election? And more specifically, how do you think voting impacts the issues that matter to you? And what would you say to people who feel their votes don't matter?
Voting impacts the issues that matter to me because it can affect my community and affect many others around the country. So our communities can benefit with better education, healthcare, infrastructure, job growth, racial and LGBTQ equality, and more. And to those who ask themselves, why vote? It doesn't matter. We say to you, it absolutely does matter. Your vote is your voice when it comes to politics, and it's extremely important to use it. The simplest way to do this is to go to your polling place or grab that mail-in ballot and pick up that pen. Our votes really matter with the candidates who are legislators, governors, members of Congress, et cetera, who play an active role in fixing the problems that we face as a community and a country. So, especially with today's climate, with all the upheaval and turmoil going around, voting is more important now than ever. Bottom line, change does not happen if you do not act. Voting is representation. Voting is power. Use that power to make a difference. And if you're too young to vote, utilize social media and make your voice loud and heard. And then by doing that, we can and we will create change together.
Yes, Chris. Oh my God, Chris for president. Love this. Jenny, how about you? Is there anything you want to add to this about how you think voting impacts the issues that matter most to you, and what you'd say to people who don't feel like their vote matters?
I think that I would like to bring it back to the fact that there have been women and people of color in this country prior to now who did not have the right to vote. And our people fought for that right. And the reason why people tried to prevent people from voting was because they knew that voting matters, that vote gives you power. Women fought tooth and nail to get the right to be able to have a voice, and they were prevented in every way possible for like 50 years straight. The suffragists were fighting for this right. It wasn't until 1920 that they were given that absolute right. And then the same thing happened when Black people tried to vote in the South. This is why we had so many protests that were going on during the Civil Rights Movement. And there's why I know there's a lot of people who are disenfranchised. They think their vote does not matter, but it does matter in the end. That's why they keep redrawing the district lines. If it didn't matter, then they wouldn't do that. Sorry. I get all heated up.
No,
I vote. Since the moment that I could vote, I've always voted. I try to get people in my life to vote as well. I think voting is important. I know it can be frustrating because the political system, it seems like it is messed up, but I think that if we keep going, that one day things will go better. That's all I want to say. So
thank you so much. I mean, that's so true. Like if you go down in the South at the last election, there was like 8-hour-long lines. Like that is intentional. That is systematic racism. And the only way that we're going to fight against it is if we start electing some of our people into office. So thank you for that. Yeah. Jessica, what about you?
Gosh, I mean, I can't say it better than what has already been said, but I absolutely believe that, I mean, voting is one of the powerful tools in our change makers toolbox, and we have to use that tool. And especially with the issues that I'm working on now around the Arctic refuge, this election is going to be so important because it is our current administration, the Trump administration, that is so aggressively pushing for lease sales in the Arctic refuge. So particularly on this issue, yeah, we need to get out to the polls. We need to exercise those rights that we have fought for and vote on the issues that matter to us. And if you're not old enough to vote, then talk to your community, talk to your neighbors, talk to your family. Like you can still talk to people about the issues that you care about.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks you all. Thanks for sharing your art. Thanks for sharing your wisdom. Thanks for showing up and standing up and participating because, you know, like voting is just one step, but it's also how do you show up for your community and how do you use your voice every single day in order to like make a better future for tomorrow. So thank you all so much. Remember to follow all of these people on Instagram. They have really amazing art and really incredible things to share. I just wanted to thank all of you for joining us tonight, to spending your evening with us, and wish these artists congratulations on this open call. Y'all are going to be a part of like a global national public art campaign. We're super stoked to be amplifying your voices and to share your art with the world. We'll be sharing everyone's Instagram handles so you all can give them a follow. And make sure to also follow the Instagram, the Zoomies Instagram, and head over, oh, sorry, there's like motorcycles in the background. But head over to the local Zoomies over the next month. You're gonna be able to actually see all of this artwork in person and maybe even get some free artwork of yourselves. We really, really need to register to vote and to actually show up at the polls. Like was mentioned tonight, voter suppression is such a huge part of the political tactics of our government. So like, I know that I voted in the last midterms and I just got a notice saying that my vote wasn't counted for whatever reason. So I highly recommend that everyone go online and check and make sure that you're registered and then vote as soon as possible and then like check to see that your vote counted. We need to educate our friends and our family, and we need to demand that all of our voices be heard this election. That's how we're going to create change. It's not like a perfect situation that we're in right now, but we do have a choice to make it significantly better than it has been the last 4 years. Keep listening, keep learning. And if you want to learn more about Amplifier and how to join our movement, you can follow us online at Amplifier Art. We're also going to have all of this artwork available as free high-resolution downloads at amplifier.org. And you can also go to the local Zoomies stores. If you want to support our work, you can purchase like a hat or a mask or a shirt. 100% of the proceeds for our organization goes into us giving artwork out for free to under-resourced communities and to places like sending free artwork to classrooms. And please just don't forget to register to vote. Learn more and take action at zoomies.com/standup and get registered and use your voice. And I hope to see you all soon. Bye, guys.
I hear your eyes and I see those cries. I hear those eyes and I see those cries. I can't be the only one who here's you. Tears falling down at the party, saddest little baby in the room. Fears, tell me fears, don't get me started. I get a little gray hair for every scare you share. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Tears falling down at the party, saddest little baby in my...
Skating with my friends is like one of the chillest things you can do. It's just us in the world enjoying life.
Skateboarders around the world, it'd be skate spots everywhere. It'd be peaceful, honestly.
Skateboarders do have the power to change their city and make it safer because we're always skating around in the streets and we see what goes on.
I'm going to be voting this November because our voice matters and we need to make a difference in our community.
Let people know, like, hey, I voted here, this changed. We can make other things change as well. We're out here, we're the people. We should talk up, we should speak more. I'm gonna be skateboarding to the pole.
I'm gonna be skateboarding with like my group of friends. We're just gonna skateboard to the pole and have a nice time.
November 3rd, go vote.
Get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it.
Yo, look, I ain't saying that I'm rich, cause if I'm honest, I've never been. But when I look at all these other kids, I feel just a little bit ahead of them. You should know the business is competitive. There's a lot of people that I'm better than. Even veterans ain't got the knowledge I do. I've been reinvesting all I ever spent. Stop pretending like you poppin'. Who been out here making profit? Told my mama that I got this. I wonder if she noticed what my job is. I don't know how I'ma make it, but I know no matter what, I'm finna find a way. All my homies finna eat and I ain't letting no one on my team look at an empty plate. Yeah. Went from a boy to a man. Ay, every day been making plans. Ay, they don't really understand. Ay, gotta look out for the family. I won't fall for any scam. Yeah, only worry about the fans. Yeah, I won't compromise the brand. Yeah, I've been saving up the bands. Whoa.
After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. Rappers spending money in some really funny ways, man. I promise you ain't really getting paid. Yeah, show a couple bands flexing on the Instagram, and nobody getting paid.
All right, everyone, thanks for sticking with us. Before we say goodbye and turn it over to our pals at Emo Night, we got to get real for a second. We have heard from a ton of different voices this evening, and you have heard us say the same things over and over again.
You know, don't ghost the vote. Get registered to vote. Get your friends registered to vote and go fucking vote. Don't do it because some celebrity told you to, and you don't have to do it because we told you to. We've heard them talk about it all throughout the segments. Do it because your voice matters, and your vote is your voice at the national level for the presidential election, and even more so at the local level. We have thousands of Senate and congressional, governor, we have state legislator, mayoral, and city council elections across the entire country. You don't like how your city handled COVID? I didn't. I'm definitely going to vote. Your town won't build that skate park? Make sure you go vote.
Change isn't going to happen overnight, but by getting involved and using your voice and voting, you can start to change your community. We have to register to vote and actually show up at the polls. Let's demand for our voices to be heard, because that's how we're going to create change, one election at a time. We have to keep listening and keep learning. So don't ghost the vote and wait to request an absentee ballot. Go to votolatino.org/vote by mail to confirm if you can vote by mail in your state and request your absentee ballot today. Why deal with waiting in long lines at the polls? Fill out your ballot at home and mail it back as soon as possible once you get it to make sure your vote is counted. And for those of us not voting by mail, did you know you can actually vote early before November 3rd? You can head to rockthevote.org/howtovote to find out if your state has early voting, when the early voting period is, and where you have to go to do your early voting. Lines might be long on election day, so vote early if you can to avoid them. I know we've got a ton of passionate people out there who might be too young to vote in this election, and that's a-okay. Your voice still matters. Use it to talk with your friends and family who can vote. Make sure that they're registered and that they actually go out and vote, and then you can get involved in your community to support it any way that you can.
And remember, to get registered to vote, head over to zoomies.com/standup, where you can also update your voter registration if you've moved. You can sign up to get those election notifications and get your friends registered to vote. You can also head to your local Zoomies. Come find us, talk to us, and find out more info about registering and voting in your area. So we see it in the chat. We have some winners. We've got gift cards, we've got t-shirts, and we also have those limited edition posters. So I'm gonna list off who those winners are. This will be in the chat also, but first off, winning $100 Zoomies gift cards are, we have Sapowell 34, Brenda Rodriguez 5123, it's Destiny _ Gamerissi 188. Where's the receipt? I like that one. Talina 03, Young Mellows, Mayday Luro, and then Bexby, and then the last one is Mad Verb. So once again, we'll be getting in contact with you guys during like the whispers, but look at the chat to see what you won. Okay, and then winning the choice of a t-shirt from the Stand Up Collection, we have Lainey Ramirez, Jessica Wegner, Kelly Palmer, we have Jonas Dominique, Sean Gibbons, Michael Moyer, Kelly Cinto, Juan Garcia Escamilla, oh, that's a good name, and Sean Gibbons. And then finally, winning the art packs featuring art from the Your Art is Your Voice campaign. So that one is going to be Georgia Main, Thartfield, Billy's Blonde, Falsibility, and Jeremy Lee 04.
Ooh, that is a ton of winners. Congratulations to everybody who won. You guys got some awesome stuff. So thank you everyone for participating. Make sure you stay tuned for emo night right after this. And don't forget to get registered to vote. Get your friends registered, and don't ghost the vote. Don't ghost the vote. Woo!
Hi teens, we're Morgan, TJ, and Babs.
And we're the founders of Emo Night.
Thanks for tuning into the Don't Ghost the Vote stream. And thank you to Zoomies for hosting this event and spreading awareness about such an important issue.
In just a few minutes, we're going to toss things over to the Emo Night stream, hosted by 2 of our DJs in the Pacific Northwest. But we just wanted to take a minute to introduce ourselves and tell you guys how important it is to fucking vote.
We're at a pivotal moment in our country where we, as young folks, cannot sit back and let these old fucks tell us what to do.
We need to stand up and fight for change so that we can make this world a place that we actually want it to be.
That's why we're asking all of you to just take a minute, open up a new tab, head to rockthevote.org/zoomies and register to vote.
Even if you already think you're registered, just double check the site, make sure that all the stuff is correct, your address, name, everything.
It literally takes 30 seconds to do this. The future of our democracy is at stake.
This election is crucial. America as we know it is going to change forever after this November, and we need to make sure that as young people, our voices are leading the conversation for years to come.
I'm voting because Black Lives Matter.
I'm voting because women's rights matter.
I'm voting because Americans are dying from a deadly virus and nobody's doing anything to stop it.
So register to vote and get your friends registered to vote.
Don't ghost the vote.
Let's do the damn thing. Go fucking vote.
that you love them right. Yeah, when you find her, when you love. I got a girl that compliments my fly, and when it goes down, I know she gon' ride. I finally got somebody I can call mine. My one time for the one time. I got a girl that compliments my fly, and when it goes down, I know she gon' ride. I finally got somebody I can call mine. My one time for the one time. I remember when we were still in college and your girl's boyfriend friends was always trying